Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Wednesday night, and here we are talking about another piece of shit that should have never been born. But
this guy's still alive too.
he is. He seems like he's on his last legs. But the weird thing about it is that I watched. There are a couple of documentaries, probably 4 or 5 different documentaries about this guy, and they said, like, even in one I watched that was from, I think, 2022, they were kind of like, he was, like, in a hospital bed. There's, like, yeah, man, he's, like, on his last legs, something like that. But this motherfucker is still alive.
Yeah, it looks like Santa Claus.
He does. He looks a lot. He's a Santa Claus looking motherfucker. He didn't look like Santa Claus when he was younger, but he looks like Santa Claus now. I think he's 80 now, or almost 80. And this motherfucker, this is another one that I'm surprised is not, like, a household name. Just because, one, he did some really fucked up shit. I think he kind of got more known, like, more recently, because I think up until, like, 2010, they didn't really know how many people he'd killed because he was real tight-lipped about it. There's actually a documentary. It's 2 parts. I think it was originally made for A&E, and you can find it on Tubi. It's about 3 hours long. And that one's mostly about the detective, Anzalotti, I think is his last name, or something like that. It's in my notes, but I don't have it right in front of my face. Who spent a decade, like, interviewing this guy, like, regularly and trying to get him to close, like, all these cold cases that he had that he suspected this guy was responsible for. So he actually ended up killing, like, a lot more people than they initially thought. Not sure what I think that the estimate now is credibly 20. Although the dude has said on multiple occasions that he has killed somewhere between 80 and 100 women. That may be an exaggeration, but considering how long he was loose, he was killing people from at least 1965 until 1980 when they caught him. It's not completely crazy to think that it's much higher. Because, like I said, it was like pulling teeth, like, to get him to confess to anything.
I think it's because he didn't have very many to confess, and he was trying to...
Maybe he was trying to, like, make it...
Yeah, and last as long as he could. That's what I think.
Yeah,
he's getting attention.
And that's the thing. But, like I said, credibly, they think 20, maybe 25. But they don't know exactly. They're still trying to get him to confess to things.
Chances are there's some little girls in there he doesn't want to talk about.
Well, there were a couple that he confessed to.
Yeah, but they were like 13.
Well, that's still a little girl.
Yeah,
though.
but I'm thinking younger. I think there was little girls in there.
Yeah, possibly. It wouldn't shock me.
8, 9, 10.
Especially when he was starting out.
Yeah.
When he was a little budding serial killer. Because he tended to go after younger ones when he was younger.
I think when he was younger, he was getting them younger than that, and probably would relapse, and didn't want to talk about that. Because a lot of times, even Ted Bundy didn't want to talk about
that 13-year-old.
Yeah.
But it
wouldn't surprise me if Ted Bundy got him as young as 9, 10, 8. He probably did that.
Yeah.
Just he would never admit to it.
Now, see, Zach is saying if the math works out, that's roughly 6 murders a year for 15 years, which is not crazy. Yeah, I mean, that's just one every couple of months. I mean, that seems doable.
What he was confessing to was a couple of them a year. 2 or 3 a year.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm pretty sure they think now it's about 20. But they're still trying to get him to talk, like, before he keels over, because he doesn't seem to have long for this world.
Because 2 or 3 a year, that's kind of reasonable. That's 1 every 3 or 4 months.
Yeah,
and you could
get a reasonable pace for a serial killer.
You would think that, yeah. Well, he was married. He had a normal life
and a job
and shit like that. So I don't.
He was one of those motherfuckers.
And I got a feeling that he was one to where he had a bunch of pressures that would build up. He had to blow off steam every couple of months.
Yeah,
he was one of those.
Interestingly, one of his, when he started his most horrific like span of crimes, the ones that he's probably best known for. Like in the late 70s, he kind of used as an excuse that his wife was going to divorce him, and I was just kind of like, good for her, But yeah, he was another one where he had a double life, essentially. He'd been married for a long time. He had, like, a good job, full-time job in Manhattan. And he was just seemingly like normal. He had 3 kids. They had 3 kids. Seemingly normal motherfucker. And he was doing all this shit on the down low. However, I will note that he had in his house, they found out later, one of those infamous locked rooms in the basement that the wife was not allowed to go into. And I'm like, ladies, if your man has a locked room in the basement that you were absolutely not allowed to go into, that bitch is a serial killer. Get the fuck out of there. It's like, there is no excuse. There is no excuse for that.
He made some kind of excuse.
And it's like, and I guess back then, because like I said, that was back in the 60s and 70s, so I guess that was more, oh, that's his man cave, and it's like,
he's down there beating off.
He's down there beating off and stuff like that, which he was, but there was a lot worse shit down there, too. So I'm just saying that's, like, really fishy, you know? But like I said, maybe it was less fishy back then.
Yeah, dude had a job, and he had a wife and kids, but he was like Dennis Rader, you know? Dude was weird. He wasn't a normal guy.
No.
Just that every now and then these motherfuckers can maintain a family or in a facade.
Yeah, compartmentalizing like BTK did.
Yeah, but you just see interviews with him. He's a weird dude. You can see photographs of him and you can go, that's a creepy looking dude. And he was into fucking, fetishy stuff, but he kept it on the down low, and he really wanted to tie people up and beat them and cut them up and shit. He was just one of those.
Prostitutes lick him all
he
over.
was like BTK. He was a dude that
I don't think he was quite as weird as BTK.
Like
not
BTK
quite as
a little bit weirder.
Like what I mean. He like seemed slightly more normal.
He was just what I meant was he was like BTK in terms of like he was the kind of dude that was into detective magazines and shit. Whether or not he was actually reading them or fantasizing, but he was into that kind of stuff. Women tied up.
Yeah.
Women being beat up and threatened with knives, that kind of shit.
Yeah, he was real into that kind of shit. And it seemed like he was into that from a early age. And this was another motherfucker. I think we talked about this a little bit when we talked about Sean Gillis last week. This is another guy that had a very normal upbringing.
Yeah.
And so we're kind of led to assume that this dude was probably more on the nature end of the scale than the nurture end. Yeah. Is what I'm saying.
I think they always are.
Yeah, but like I said, I think it's a different combo, like in each case, because obviously some people that go on to be serial killers like had horrible abusive childhoods, which I'm sure didn't help, and that maybe they wouldn't have become serial killers if they hadn't been brought up that way. But the fact that there are some dudes like this motherfucker who had, by all accounts, a completely normal, even idyllic childhood, and also had 3 siblings who all came out completely normal, it leads me to believe that he had something wrong with him from the jump. Yeah.
Well, a lot of times they'll put it on an abusive parents and shit, and they say, well, the parents fuck the kids up through the abuse. But the thing is, though, is you got to look at the parents. The parents have genetic information, and they crossbreed, and they create little children. And they inherit genetics from fucked up parents.
True.
You know what I mean? So you might have parents who are kind of fucking psychopaths to begin with. And they create a little kid who has the same genetic kind of profile. Maybe the dad's a psychopath, and the mother's just almost kind of like a weird, ultra submissive. Well, that's just as bad in a way. Because you're not defending your children. You don't fucking run. So, but, she married him because it was like natural selection. In a way, you know. Fucking, so then this kid that's already kind of like from a bad gene pool is in a fucking bad environment. And of course it's going to be a disaster. Just how it is.
Yeah.
So you can't put it all on the parents. I'm not saying you blame the kid, but the thing is that the kid is what it is. You're never, you can't really exceed the sum of your genes, it's not really the kid's fault, but nothing is. It's not an alligator's fault that its parents were an alligator. It's an alligator though.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
And it would still bite your arm.
It'll still fucking bite you. Right, yeah. It's like that,
It doesn't care.
Right.
It just wants your arm because it's delicious.
Yeah, be careful. Be careful with people. People are dangerous.
To an extent. Like I said, most people are probably just like...
Most people are normal.
Are just normal, harmless motherfuckers. But, like, you never know.
Yeah.
Is all I'm saying. I'm
Yeah.
not saying you have to go around being paranoid of everybody and like never leave your house. Obviously, that would be bad.
What's
But,
funny is that evil motherfuckers like this always projected onto other people. They say, "Well, yeah,
I have noticed
I
that
killed all
too.
these people. I killed all these women, but somebody else would have killed them anyway." And,
Yeah.
this is the world we live in, and those girls were bad.
Well, I've noticed.
That's how they-
Too, as just from reading a lot about serial killers and stuff, and just reading a lot about like just terrible people in general. They're not as common as it seems, I guess, because we're so inundated with true crime media. But they absolutely think everyone else is like them. Yeah. Actually, we were watching a documentary about this dude last night, and he said, I can't remember the exact wording that he used, but he said something that made me think that exact thing. That's like, these kind of shitty people think everybody else thinks like they do. Mm-hmm. Like, he said something like, oh, well, doesn't everybody do it? I'm like, no. I'm like, that's just you, bro.
That's the framework that's the framework they're operating from, though.
Right.
They can't imagine any other kind of reality because they're seeing it.
I'm like, most people are not like that. Like, they don't think that way.
They're seeing it through a lens of a fucking perverted fucking psychopath.
Yeah, and I'm wondering too how much of that is conscious and how much of that is like unconsciously, like deep down they know they're a shitty person and that's how they justify being a shitty person because everyone else is a shitty person too, and I'm just like being shitty before people can be shitty to me. I think it's probably a combination of those things. But it's one thing I've noticed about shitty people in general is they think everybody else is as shitty as they are. Well, wouldn't everybody do this shitty thing that I would do?
Yeah,
no.
Well, they see themselves as normal.
Yeah, I'm like, no, most people would not do that. Matter of fact, you're kind of a freak.
Yeah.
But I guess they don't think that way.
Well, another thing is that if you look at this guy, where he hung out in real seedy areas, a bunch of sex workers.
He loved that shit.
Weird fucking porn shit down, fucking... They were showing where he hung out back in the days, you know what I mean?
Well, Times Square when it was like a shithole.
Yeah, you looked at Times Square and you're like, fuck, it's horrible signage.
Famously a shithole.
Horrible signage. Looked creepy, tacky as shit. Everything was some kind of fucking strip club, hookers, fucking jack-off joints, fucking, they had a damn... What do you call it? Fucking swap, fucking...
Yeah, swingers club there.
Plato's
Retreat.
Yeah, and fucking what made
Quite
it look
famous
so
at the
fucking
time.
horrible was the signage. Everything was just tacky signs.
Everything in the 70s was
ugly. Ugly, yeah.
I remember
real
it.
Seedy,
it's ugly.
Seedy and fucking poor.
Everything's brown and covered with cigarette tar and like everything was just gross.
Yeah, that's the thing. People, foreigners talk about the New York. You know what I mean? Like, oh, that's the capital city of America. No, New York was a fucking shithole up until like the 90s. The 90s is when it started to get a lot better.
Times Square now is just kind of like a tourist.
Yeah.
Bacchanalia, but it's just kind of like it's just all malls and high end shit and everything like that. But back in the 70s, it was blocks and blocks and blocks of hookers of all descriptions,
filth.
There were thousands.
Yeah.
Of sex workers. They're like, this block was like all the women, and this block was the male hustlers, and this block was the trans ones, and this block was, and it was just all sex shops and everything, like porn theaters.
Yeah, we're not talking about
it was like that.
We're talking about fucking bottom.
Yeah, like I said, it was a shithole, and the crime was really, really bad.
Lots of murders, lots of rapes.
Really bad.
Women would get raped in the middle of the fucking street in certain parts of fucking New York, and people would just shut the windows. They wouldn't even fucking call the cops. There was that shit went down one time. Where was that?
That case, Kitty Genovese.
Yeah, when did that happen? Wasn't that the Bronx?
I think, but it didn't happen quite the way the popular perception of it was. I think that it got like exaggerated later, saying it's like, oh, nobody did. It was people did call the police. It wasn't like as bad as it was made out to be. But I think for a long time she was kind of like the poster child of, oh, nobody gives a shit. Like she got murdered in the middle of the street or whatever, and like nobody did anything. That's not the case.
New York of the fucking 70s, and even before that, New York of the 60s was fucking tacky as shit too. It was just run down, shitty looking, not a single decent coat of paint. Fuck. Now they had a couple nice neighborhoods, you know what I mean, but that was kind of far from the. It was kind of like worse than Detroit. And I lived in Detroit. I lived in fucking Cass Corridor, 2nd and West Hancock, near Cass Corridor. That was like fucking the apocalypse. All right, I loved it because it was so low population density. Nobody lived there, and it was gothic as fuck, and a lot of cool goth chicks. But you had to watch it, man. You'd find dead dudes in my dumpster, the dead fucking dope dealers out there, little feet sticking up out of the dumpster and shit, frozen. It was fucking wild, man.
Like I said, that's kind of what New York City in the 70s was
Yeah.
like. At least that part of New York
Yeah,
City wasn't
but
like that.
but the thing is that New York was densely populated. Detroit wasn't.
Yeah.
Detroit was sparsely populated. They didn't have any people in it. Empty skyscrapers, fucking abandoned buildings. You could get a huge fucking apartment for $250 a month, and it have indoor elevators I could drive my car into. It was like something out of fucking Batman. It was like The Crow. That's why The Crow was set in Detroit in that time, because that's kind of the way it was. No police service. Later on, they ended up said, enter Detroit at your own risk. There is no police service. So that's just how it is. You could literally do Predator, go out there and fucking hunt fucking people, and nobody could call the cops. There's no cops. Now I think they have cops again now. Detroit has recovered quite a bit, but
Yeah,
most of
it
it's been
has.
torn down.
Yeah.
I heard it's like made a comeback. I'd like to see what it's like
I've been
now.
hearing that also.
But in the 80s, it was just like fucking.
Well, yeah, like I said, everything was kind of shitty. Like, so, and
Yeah.
you know, they talk a lot about what they call, a couple documentaries I saw, like, called it the golden age of serial killers.
Yeah.
Being from about the mid 60s, I guess, or the early 70s into like probably the mid 80s or something.
And this way you
They're
don't
like,
hear-
most of the serial killers that you know of
came from that.
came
time.
from that era. You don't really hear about it. They're still around, obviously, but
Yeah,
it's
and
just like you just don't hear about
I
it.
think
like
that's why you
used to.
don't hear that much about this guy. He happened at a time when there was a lot of competition.
True.
And there's been all these theories. I kind of had a theory it was leaded gasoline. I can remember putting leaded gasoline in my car.
Yeah, you're not the only person that says that either. There's a lot of that. going
Man,
on.
cars would burn gasoline. We had catalytic converters and everything. It seemed fucking safe, but it's blowing lead particles out. And if you were in an area that was a high traffic density, with like New York and places in LA, where that's where the serial killers were, you're breathing in lead. And lead makes you fucking psychopathic.
Kind of fucks your brain up.
It can make you fucking violent. Just look at the Roman aristocracy back in the fucking 2nd century. 2nd century fucking 18 BC and shit. They were crazy. So I think a lot of people had lead poisoning. Most people probably didn't do anything to them, so maybe lower some IQ, make them meaner. But some people who had fucking sexual problems, got them sexual problems, like fucking, what's his name? Fucking, yeah, got them sexual problems, Dude has sexual problems, he can't fucking now maintain himself because he's got his fucking high lead content in his system. He fucking goes out and acts on his fucking lowly impulses, his perverted impulses. I think that's part of what it was.
I think there's a lot of factors. I think that's a major factor, honestly, was environmental factors. Probably like the upbringing that a lot of them had. Their parents, like particularly their dads and stuff, coming back from World War II, blah de blah.
Yeah, high stress area.
High stress. Dads were kind of checked out. Shit like that. There was a lot of still kind of abuse going on. It wasn't really a lot of alcoholism that wasn't really addressed. There was also
He-Man misogyny.
That kind of shit.
And fucking women were just kind of women didn't have a big strong place in the workplace most of the time, so they didn't have a lot of money. So they were constantly, if they weren't married, they were constantly trying to find a man, which made them kind of fucking susceptible to serial killers and prostitution, to make ends meet. And it would just make you a victim to a fucking predator. So I think it was a dangerous time.
Like I said, it was a dangerous combination of factors. Just like I said, a lot of the just societal issues, environmental issues, like with the lead and all of that kind of stuff. And it was just easier to get away with stuff. People were, moving to large cities in, bigger numbers. And there was a lot of cultural upheaval. like
Yeah.
you know, different stuff, and people weren't really used to it.
Yeah, like let me give you an example. A lot of these dudes were very traditional minded. They thought that they could go to high school, get a diploma, go out and get a job, and their expectations were pretty high. That they would be able to get a job that could afford a wife and a family, and that women were kind of, you know what I mean, fucking what they call trad wives nowadays. But that's not actually what was happening. They were not making a lot of money. You had a lot of women that didn't fit the stereotypical role for like the first time because it was like the end of the 60s. So there was a bunch of liberation going on. And I think a lot of guys didn't like that, because imagine if all of a sudden you had women running around with birth control pills, sleeping with whoever they want to, but you're in kind of like the Middle East, in an Islamic country where it's kind of strict. Well, they were kind of strict. So I think they saw women like that, or some guys saw women like that as whores.
Yeah.
So you could do what you wanted with them. They were bad girls. So I think that was part of it.
This guy seemed to have a bit of that mindset.
It's kind of like a Madonna whore complex.
Yeah.
And I think that really added to the serial killer.
I think that was pretty common, honestly.
Yeah, and then what's funny is that you look from pornography from the time and erotica and from the 70s, and it was pretty kind of abusive. There was a lot of BDSM, a lot of fucking you know, Venus in furs, you know, and fucking click and weird shit like that. You know what I mean? It was women being you know, targets, you know what I mean, of fucking, what's a good way to put it? Trying to put it in words. Women were supposed to be submissive to men, and a man could make them do whatever they wanted to them, and you know what I mean? I'm gonna go out and trade you out to my friends, and you a hoe. Just weird shit like that.
Yeah.
The erotica of the time was negative. It was kind of morally judgmental.
Yeah.
On one end, they'd have that, but then there'd be more positive type stuff. But I think certain dudes gravitated more towards the negative sides of what they called the liberation, the sexual liberation movement. Some dudes didn't adapt to that well.
Because they wanted to like get women back in the place that they thought that they should be in.
Yeah, that, and
they wanted to beat them back into
bad
submission.
girls need to be punished type.
That too.
Type thing.
And this guy, he even said some things almost in those exact words, where he would say stuff like, I never had trouble getting women to do whatever I wanted to. But then he has like a codicil at the end where he's just like, well, if I gave him enough money, or with the implied threat that I was going to hurt them or maybe even kill them. I'm like, well, there you go. That's why they did what you wanted, because you were going to kill them if they didn't.
Yeah, and you gave them money to the stick and the carrot. And what's funny is that it's always a weak man. I would never classify myself as a weak man. My history doesn't show it out. I like bad girls. Jen will tell you, I gravitate towards bad girls because they're not a threat to me. You know.
Yeah.
I think it's hot, but there's something about a weak man who's controlling and dominant, and his fucking demands that a woman has to be ultra pure type of deal. And if she is pure, he's still going to soil her.
Yeah.
So what
he still hates her.
Still hates him.
He hates him either way.
Stupid.
You can't win.
Stupid.
There's no reasoning with dudes like that.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I don't either.
I think bad girls are fun. I respect them. You know, they just because they're like me. I guess.
Well, I mean, the thing about it is like
we're just humans.
People, people are fucking people. Some people are assholes, and some people aren't assholes.
Yeah,
like, it doesn't matter what gender they are, for Christ's sake. But it's just, it doesn't matter. But yeah, some people just have this very hierarchical, just very narrow band like idea of what people's roles should be.
Yeah.
And when people deviate from that, then they get really upset.
Yeah, that's a weird way of putting it. But I see myself as very hierarchical though, but not with that. You know what I mean? I I believe in hierarchies.
I'm not hierarchical at all.
Oh, I know dudes are more badasses than me and fucking that are better than me at certain things.
But the thing about it is that I'm kind of more of a person that's like, I know, obviously, that, you know, other people are better at shit than me or, you know, better looking than me or something like that. But that doesn't mean they're inherently a better human being than I am.
Yeah.
Everyone just kind of has the same value, like, as a human being. Like, obviously, I'm not saying...
that's a healthy view.
I'm not doing, like, a Harrison Bergeron thing where I'm saying it's like, oh, well, everybody should, like, strong people should wear weights and, like, smart people should have things in their ears so they can't think and shit like that. It's not like you're trying to make everyone the same.
Right. There are a lot of people that are like that.
Well, there's not, though. And I think that that's kind of a misperception. People think that we want to make everybody the same. I know everyone's not the same. Yeah. Obviously, everyone's not the same. It's just everyone should be kind of treated the same or given the same rights, afforded the same... You know, that's all it is. You're not saying that everyone's the same.
There are many people who are supposedly well-meaning that want equality. But that equality fucking involves cutting certain people down to size in an artificial way to make everybody the same. But the thing is, you can't have diversity if everybody's the same. So that's a big conundrum. No, people rise and fall to their appropriate place depend upon their skill set. That's just how it is. That's the way the life is. And some people are too weak to handle that. You know, that'd be like going in there and saying, can't have this NBA here. Too many black people, too many tall black people. Where's our short Mexicans? We got to have representation on the NBA team. Well, you'll never have that. You know what I mean? But you would have people that would do that. You know, no, let horse jockeys be small little motherfuckers on the back of the horses that only weigh 60 pounds. That's what a fucking good jockey weighs. You know what I mean? He's a horse racer. That's just the nature of things, and some people can't handle that. But you're healthy, but I'm the same way.
Well, I know that.
There are unhealthy people in this world.
Yeah, but
they're fucking psychos.
That's not the issue. It's like that's not.
No, these dudes are unhealthy.
Well, no. Yeah, obviously.
Right. Well, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about they have these dudes that are forcing people into certain roles. That's not true. That's not true hierarchy. That's insanity what they're talking about.
I'm talking more about kind of like hierarchies in terms of just because I am a white man, that means I am inherently better than a white woman who is inherently better than a black man who is inherently better than... That's what I'm talking about. Because it seems like they have that kind of hierarchy. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like fictional hierarchies.
Yeah, they're dumb.
Yes,
they're dumb.
Obviously.
They're
you know, I'm not talking about a hierarchy in that, somebody's better at basketball than me. No shit.
Right, yeah.
You know, I'm not going to be joining the WNBA anytime soon. I suck at basketball, and I'm short.
Yeah.
So it's like, so obviously, you know what I mean? So it's just kind of like, I don't suck at basketball.
Right.
I'm okay at basketball. I'm just really short. So,
there are just some people that are programmed to fucking like hate hierarchy, but they don't even know what they're talking about because they're in a hierarchy.
But like I said, you see the type of hierarchy I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That is what causes the issue. Oh, I'm of this religion, so therefore I'm inherently better than a person of this religion who is inherently better than. That's what I'm talking about.
Not a true hierarchy. That's a false hierarchy.
That's what I'm saying.
Because a true hierarchy is built on performance.
Yeah. Well, like I said.
Yeah.
Now, let me see. Oracle says, I think with the truly insecure, the problem is that the insecure person believes other people are secretly laughing at them all the time. Yeah, there's probably something to that. And there are probably some people laughing at them, but most people just go through their own lives not giving the insecure people a second thought. I think that's kind of what... Yeah, I do get the sense that a lot of these types of motherfuckers...
They're like that.
They have a thing where, they think everyone's looking at them or everyone's judging them, where it's like 99% of the world don't even fucking notice them.
Right.
Which is true of everybody, really. Most people are not really noticing, unless you're walking down the street, like, in a chicken suit or something like that. Like, no one really notices you most of the time.
These serial killers have extreme versions of man problems. Right. Fucking... In the world of men, that top 20% of the men, in terms of status and good looks and shit, do very well with women. They're in high demand, so they're not in the same universe. So they're not sharing the same reality as the average guy. The average guy kind of getting passed over. He's kind of fucked over because the average woman that is at his level mostly aren't even fucking recognizing their existence. So they have to do certain things in order to get a woman's attention so they can mate. Most men, I think it's more than half of them, never have children. They die heirless. I never had any children that I know of.
I'm sure you probably did.
There are probably some out there, but fucking because the numbers kind of say that.
Considering,
but I mean, there's none that I know of. All right. If I know about it, I'd fucking be looking for them. You know what I mean? Nobody's sought me out. But the average guy actually kind of has to fucking work pretty hard to mate. Half of them don't. Serial killers are at the bottom. All right, they're because of certain factors in their lives, their personalities, most of them are not getting any attention. Now, a few of them, like this dude, he did get married, and fucking Dennis Rader got married. But that wasn't enough for them, and they're kind of the unusual serial killer. A lot of the dudes at the bottom fucking get a hatred towards women. They see him as a fucking enemy. You know what I mean? That they think that the women are laughing at them. They're not, though. They're just not seeing them.
They're just not paying attention to you.
Yeah, and they're not respecting them in the way that they think they need to be respected. Like, oh, So what they do is they flip it around. She's going to fear me in the final moments of her life. So that becomes his, I'm going to be special because I'm the dude that kills her.
That's some Elliot Rodgers shit right there.
Yeah, she will see my power.
Why don't girls like my car or my nice clothes? I'm going to shoot them all.
Yeah.
It's that kind of mentality.
Yeah. So women have to be aware of who it is that's doing this and why.
Oh, we're very aware.
They're very fucking dudes at the bottom, and they think that they're persecuted. So they see you as an evil enemy a lot of the times.
Yeah, no shit. We're very aware of that, Tom. I'm not really sure if you know. Women are very aware of that.
Would I know the life of a woman?
No.
I wouldn't know. Of course not.
Well, I'm just saying we're
in
very...
case you don't know, that's
we're very
the one.
Aware. Why do you think we walk around like fucking scared to death all the time? Trying to be nice to dudes, trying to like de-escalate situations and shit like that.
There are certain dudes you can't de-escalate with.
I know, but like you gotta fucking...
The average motherfucker, you gotta be forceful. Fuck off.
That could also get you in trouble.
I've seen videos of English girls and European girls trying to be nice to dudes who are assaulting them. That doesn't happen in the United States. Scream for help. Call the motherfucker ugly motherfucker. Never fuck with you. You know, let him know that you hate him.
I mean, he might kill you anyway. But
yeah.
I mean...
Well, no, it is. He's going to continue to fucking press. And you do that shit. You can't get away with the United States because what'll happen is as soon as you start fucking screaming and shit, fucking 5 dudes will come to your aid, especially in a club. But I've seen them doing it in fucking clubs in Europe and shit. Like some of these dudes doing shit to these women. Like that would never happen here. I'd be over there fucking beating that dude's ass. Jen's seen me clear a club out.
Well, a lot of women would beat their ass
too. Yeah, Shauna would show up and fucking kicking your ass. So, yeah, there's some dudes that only know physicality. If it's not a physical fucking counterattack on them, then they just keep doing what they're doing.
Yeah, Oracle says, because amazingly enough, women have other things on their minds besides men. And I say that as a very happily married woman. Yeah. Exactly. That's what I think a lot of these dudes that are at the bottom like that, because they don't see women as fully human, it seems, they're like, to them, it seems like, well, they're not paying attention to me, and therefore I have to do... Like, they don't realize she's got her own fucking life going on. She doesn't even notice you. She's probably going to her job, or she's worried about some other shit she's got to do. Oh, shit, did I leave the laundry in? Is my iron on? You know what I mean? It's like she has a million things going through her head at the time, and is not even thinking about you at all. It's not at you. That's a very narcissistic way to look at
it. He's the center of his own universe. Exactly. That's the point of view that he has.
And everyone else is an NPC that should cater to his whims,
life has dishumanized him, so therefore everybody else is extreme. They're demons. You know what I mean? That's how he sees it. If he can't see himself as a human, then other people must be demons. How could they be more human than him? Because everybody's so I can't say it. I'm drunk. Yeah. Everybody's the center of their own world in a way that they're seeing. So he's the main character. Yeah. So everybody else must be demons. You know, which I can understand. Dude's worked himself into a fucking corner, and maybe he didn't have the skills to get out of it. Most dudes can. But,
happily, most dudes are not like this motherfucker.
Right.
But you know what I mean? It's like, you never know. And like I said,
Most dudes can make friends with other dudes and have hobbies and shit. Fucking have another kind of life. It doesn't have to be centered around women. You got porn, whatever. Go get you a hooker. Shut the fuck up.
I mean,
Yeah.
well, this guy did it, but he killed him. And mutilated them.
Yeah, well, it's because he's fucking
So
trying to be important.
Doesn't work in all
Trying to be
places.
important. Yeah, he's frustrated. Trying to be important.
Yeah, I don't know. I was like, this dude. There's
Trying
a lot
to be
of
important and powerful.
There's a lot of interviews with him from recent years when he was an old man.
Yeah.
And it's kind of I didn't find him quite as creepy as Sean Gillis, but it's like he's very matter of fact.
Yeah.
I guess a lot of them are, and I think that creeps me out like even more than I don't know, like just the fact that there's like, hey, I did this, and she started screaming, so I stabbed her, and blah blah blah. Like it's like no big. You know what I mean? It's like that's really really fucking unsettling. But yeah, so I'm gonna run to the bathroom, and then we'll get into the topic at hand. Well, specifically into the topic.
I get everybody's fucking names all confused because they changed everybody's fucking names. Trying to read all the comments. Oracle, your other name is Half Naked You, right? In the UK, women. Yeah. Oracle said that had to deal with an obnoxious sales rep at work yesterday without getting into the details. Let's just say I was tempted to ask him why he has so much trouble accepting that a woman would tell him no. Okay. Yeah, it also picked strange bear over strange man. Depends on the species of bear. You don't want to pick the strange polar bear over the strange man. A polar bear will fucking eat you. Okay, they haven't seen food in a long time. And I'm not sure I would fucking trust a grizz. You can approach a grizz and maybe make friends with it maybe about 80% of the time. But you do it the wrong way, they'll eat you. Black bear, that's no big. That's black bears, they'll run from you. But no, as a dude, I'm gonna pick the random man. The random man's gonna just be the typical beta. That's gonna be a typical beta, yeah. Yeah, Grab just says talking about
Got the microphone here. Probably need another drink in a minute.
You get ready for another one?
Yeah.
No, here, give it to me.
I've had mine for like an hour and a half, so it's not like I chugged it.
Yeah.
I made mine like an hour and a half ago, and I was like sipping it. But yeah, they're talking about picking the bear. Yeah, I would also pick the bear. as most women probably would. Women understand why other women say, yeah, bear. Men are like, what the fuck? Like they get all like butthurt about it. I'm like, well, you're not a girl, you don't get it. So yeah. So anyway. All right, so what I'm going to do with the structure of this, I was kind of going back and forth, because the thing about this dude is that they caught him in 1980 for like 3 or 4 murders they figured out that he did, you know what I mean? And then it was only later that they found out that he'd done all these other ones, like going back to 1965. So I was like, how am I going to do this? Should I do it like chronological, or should I start with or whatever? I think maybe what I'll do is I'll start with kind of the big crime that put his name on the map. Although they didn't know it was him at the time, like until like a year later. That got him, well, he's mostly known as the Torso Killer. But I've also seen him called the Times Square Ripper. Some of the media called him that at the time as well. So we're going to talk about those crimes, and then we'll kind of go back and talk about him as a person, and then we'll kind of maybe do like more of a chronological thing of like all the people that he killed and stuff. But like I said, they didn't know all the people that he killed. They were all cold cases until probably starting at about 2009, 2010, when they started interviewing him and trying to get him to... because for many years... they suspected, just because of his MO and the location and things like that, that he was probably responsible for this group. I think it was like initially it was 12 cold cases that they pulled, that they thought were kind of similar. And so they kept going in there interviewing him, trying to get him to confess to these ones. And eventually he did end up confessing to, I think, 15 other ones, like after they caught him. Like other than the initial 5-ish that they already knew about. I will note too, even though I probably don't have time to go into all this, but he was also convicted of a fuck ton of not just murders, but like rapes, robberies, you know, shit like that, where the victim didn't die, thankfully. You know, rapes. So it wasn't just murders. Like, he was doing all kind of fucking shit, which, like I said, that's kind of what makes me think that there's probably more. I think he was probably responsible for more than he's confessed to so far. But maybe not. I mean, but 25, that's still a lot. So, you know what I mean? I don't remember what, because we were talking about like Ted Bundy and stuff like that earlier, but I don't remember how many Ted Bundy killed.
Oracle, your name's Misty, right? Because they changed her name to Misty, right? I think your name is Misty.
She's always been Oracle.
Yeah, but I think her real name is Misty.
Oh, okay. But I was like, on here, she's always been.
Yeah,
I know they changed to everyone's Gmail accounts on YouTube.
They changed shit
inexplicably.
around. But I also talk to people on Instagram and on...
yeah, because sometimes you know their real names and I don't.
Yes.
Because sometimes you talk to them on social media.
I think her real name is Misty.
And I'm not on social media that much. So
I get confused.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
No, she's not Misty. Okay.
If
Misty's in here, fucking...
We know
I forgot
someone
who that
else
was.
named
Right.
Misty. You know what I mean? Yeah. Oh, did you see what CB said?
What did he say?
In the UK, women and girls are told now not to do what the attacker wants and to shout and scream. Probably the best thing to do. I mean, it's just better. Actually, even when I was in junior high, we had a guy, like a cop, come and do, like, they took all the girls into the gym and did, like, a rape prevention, because that's how fucked up my junior high was. And they did a rape prevention class for the girls. And basically what they said, they told you how to use, like, regular shit as weapons and things like that. But they basically said the same thing. They're like, don't let them take you anyplace. And they're like, even if you have to do something, they're like, barf on yourself or something. It's like, just do something.
Yeah.
Don't go anywhere.
I saw a video just from a couple of days ago. They had a guy outside one of the main strips in London there. And 2 British girls come out of there and they're fucking kind of drunk. And 2 fucking, like, dudes fucking put their arms around them, started to walk off. They're like Middle Eastern guys, like Pakistani type guys. And a dude's got a camera on. He goes, whoa, hold on. Do you guys know that? Do you know these guys? And the girl's like, no, we don't know them. And he goes, get the fuck out of here. And he chased him off. The dudes ran off. And they were like, we were scared. And he goes, why did you go with them? We were scared.
Well, and they were probably, like, really drunk.
They were drunk, too.
Maybe didn't know what the fuck was going on.
But they got guys watching the girls coming out of the club saying, you know, fucking... Because there's vultures outside the club.
Well, yeah,
scooping up the drunk girls.
Prey on vulnerable women.
Yeah, and they got guys out there fucking... sheepdogs out there fucking protecting the women, which that's right. Until the women figure out not to go off of these dudes, it's good that their government's telling them, look, just don't leave with random dudes.
I mean,
because they say, come on, let's go.
You should never do that. So
Maybe just strong-armed them out.
I'm not victim blaming. And honestly, like, a lot of the women that got killed by this motherfucker were sex workers, you know, and he was like a regular, so... And also, some of the women that he kidnapped before that were either children who he basically just grabbed, or, he usually just fucking grabbed them and stuffed them in his car. So, you know what I mean? So it's not like a kind of thing where he, like, lured them away necessarily.
Tammy's going, don't teach boys not to be assholes. Teach girls how to protect them. That's part of it. The thing is, though, is that these dudes are not from Western countries. And they don't have Western ideas about Western women. They see Western women as whores. Because you all make porn. And you fucking don't cover up. So you're a whore. That's just the fuck... They have that Madonna whore complex that fucking dudes used to have a long time ago. Yeah.
And they can do whatever they want.
They can do what they want. You're underneath them. And you're not of their culture and their religion. So you're scum.
Yeah, like I said.
And people have a
hierarchy. That's what I'm talking about.
You're right. Yeah.
That's what I'm talking
That
about.
kind of, but that's
Yes,
artificial shit. That's artificial.
Well, that's what I meant.
It's not true.
That's what I meant.
Right.
That's where that's that whole mindset is what causes all of these fucking problems.
Yeah.
So you just think, and like I said, this dude seemed to have that. I don't actually know much about his wife or kids. They don't talk much about her. His wife did actually, was divorcing him, in the process of divorcing him, which is one of the reasons that he said, he flipped out and blah, blah, blah. Like, even though he'd been killing people for like 15 years before that, so I don't even fucking believe it. But yeah, they don't really bring up if he was abusive toward her. It would shock me if he wasn't. I'm sure he probably was. And I never hear anybody talk about his kids at all. Which, good for them. It's like they probably were just like, yeah, fuck this. And they just vanished into the background, which, I can see that if that's what they wanted to do. So I didn't really want to go look anything about his kids or anything like that. Even though I'm always kind of fascinated by these sort of serial killers that have families and are able to like compartmentalize to this degree. Here's the crazy thing though. I watched some documentaries about this dude. There's actually a good one on Netflix that was 3 parts. And each part's about an hour-ish, hour and a half, something like that. Now, it's kind of good because it talks a lot about New York City, or about Times Square in particular, and what a shithole it was in the 70s. So it gives you a lot of context of what was going on in the culture at the time. And then this dude's crimes were kind of like almost like a backdrop. So it's really good like for placing it, like putting it in a place and time, and like giving you like the wider perspective on it. Like it talks a lot about all the sex clubs, and it talks about like what the fucking overriding kind of shit was, like, with porn becoming mainstream and all this other, and the crime getting really bad and all this other kind of shit. So I can't remember. I think it was just called Crime Scene, the Torso Killer, or the Times Square Killer. I can't remember what it's called, but it's on Netflix, and like I said, it's 3 parts, and that was actually pretty good too. Even though it doesn't focus exclusively on Richard Cottingham, he's just kind of like a thread that runs through it, and it's kind of like about the larger, all the kind of shit that was going on in Times Square at the time. Because like I said, in the 70s, it was a shithole. Completely different now. I haven't been to New York City in probably 10 or 15 years at this point. But last time I went all over the place. You know what I mean? I went to Harlem. I went like all over the place, and it's like I did not feel in danger at any point. You know what I mean? And I kind of went everywhere. So it's a lot different than it used to be. I mean, because they had a lot of interviews with people that, lived there at the time, and we're talking about, I know a lot of people kind of miss it, like how sleazy it was. And I kind of get that, but you really didn't want to live there in the 70s. I mean, it was bad. Like, the crime was really, really bad. There were just, like I said, just fucking murders and rapes. Like, there were so many. It was just fucking ridiculous. So, let's go back to 1979. It was actually late 1979, early December. And this is kind of the crime, I think, that sort of put this dude on the map. So December 7th, 1979. The fire department gets called to a motel called the Travel Inn Motor Hotel, which is in Times Square, in the Times Square area. And the room 417, there was a fire in there. It was like smoldering, and the smoke was really thick. So the firefighters bust into the room, and they see, kind of through the smoke, they see 2 bodies, 2 twin beds, and they see 2 bodies. Now, they don't know if the people are still alive at this point. All they can kind of see is just smoke and feet, you know what I mean? So one of the firefighters, this was fucking horrifying to me. So one of the firefighters says, I grabbed the closest one and pulled the body out into the hall, to get him out of the room, like away from the smoke or whatever, in case they were still alive. And he's like, and I went to do mouth to mouth, on them, and I discovered that they didn't have a head.
Damn.
Can you fucking imagine, like, being a firefighter and it's all smoky and it's like,
head.
oh, I'll save you, and then you bring them out and there's like, they don't have a fucking head. She didn't have a head. So they're a little nonplussed by this situation, as you would be. So when they, get the fire out and the smoke clears out or everything like that, they discover that this is actually, obviously, a crime scene. There are two women, like I said, one on each bed. Both of them had been beheaded. Their hands were also cut off. And whoever killed them had set their bodies on fire before leaving the room, with a accelerant that was poured pretty much right on their crotches.
Trying to hide DNA?
Well, it was 1979, so they didn't know about DNA.
Meanness, that's all.
I think he was just trying to, like, make it so that they couldn't be identified. Head and hands.
Maybe, yeah.
And I will note that the head and hands of those victims have never been found. So
he took them?
Nobody knows what happened to them.
Tossed them.
They never know what had. They never found them. Now, these two women, one of the women was eventually identified as a woman named Dita Gudarzi. She was 22. And she was a sex worker who... I've seen different sources on this. Like, the more reliable sources, at least in my view... say she was Iranian. She actually came to the country with her dad, I think, when she was 8 or 9 years old. And went to school here and shit like that, but then, obviously fell into prostitution. But some sources also said she was from Kuwait, so I'm not really sure which one is true. But Iran or Kuwait, not sure. The other victim, sadly, has still not been identified. She is still just called Manhattan Jane Doe. They're not sure how old she was, although they said she may have only been 16. She could have been anywhere between 16 and 20. They're not entirely sure. And as I said, they still have not identified her. Now, this room had been rented by a dude named Carl Wilson, who put on the register, because remember back in the old days when you could just put fake names and fake addresses and shit like that, like on hotel registers, and you could get on a plane doing that too, and no one would say boo. I was like, I can't believe the shit they used to let people get away with. God damn it.
Well, they didn't have any way to save the information.
Yeah,
anyway.
they didn't have any way to check.
There was no databasing, so it didn't matter. It was just a formality to put your name down.
Crazy.
It didn't actually matter.
Yeah, obviously Carl Wilson is not this dude's name. And he also said that he was from
paper records didn't last long.
Yeah. He also said he was from Merlin, New Jersey, which does not exist.
Yeah.
And pretty much they asked all the staff and stuff like that, well, what the dude looked like. They're like, man, we only saw him when he checked in, and we didn't see him after. He'd been there for a couple of days, like 2 or 3 days. They said, I don't know, he looked like a fucking white dude. He was, average height, just his 30s. Brown hair, he just looked like a regular white dude. It's like, he didn't stand out, you know what I mean?
What's up, Papa? Haven't seen you, man. Just showed up.
Hey, what's up, Papa? It says, there's a serial killer author that actually bumped into this killer as he was getting out of the elevator. I read that. It was on, Murderpedia. And, I can't remember the name of the guy that wrote the essay. But yeah, he said he ran into... He didn't know who it was at the time, but he ran into him when he was fleeing the hotel, like, after this. It's on, if you go to murderpedia.org and look under Richard Cottingham, like, it's one of the essays that's in there. Yeah, I read that a couple days ago. So, obviously, the cops did not know it yet. But the dude who they were looking for was a dude named Richard Francis Cottingham, who at the time was 33 years old. He worked as a computer operator for Blue Cross Blue Shield, massive insurance company, if you don't know. And honestly, he was kind of like, this was 1979, so this is back in the days when computers were like mainframes, where they took up like a whole fucking floor of a high-rise. You know what I mean? So he was kind of one of the first guys to do that. So it was kind of like I guess it was like a fairly prestigious job, and he supported a family on it. He wasn't. I saw pictures of the house that he lived in. It wasn't lavish or anything like that, but it was a nice, decent middle class house. You know what I mean? So he actually lived in New Jersey. He lived in Little Ferry, and then like later they moved to Lodi. And every day he would commute to Midtown Manhattan, which is where his office was, and worked at Blue Cross Blue Shield. He was married. He had three kids. Went to church. And nobody had a fucking clue. That since 1965, at least, maybe there were some before that. No one's real sure. He had been raping and murdering and later mutilating and torturing women and girls. So, great. Now, he was actually arrested in 1980, and we'll get into how that happened later on. But it wasn't until after his arrest that they realized the extent of this fucking dude's depravity, like the extent of his crimes. Like, they caught him for that crime, or they actually caught him in the, committing another crime, but that girl lived. And then after that, they tied him to, like, a bunch of other ones. They sent him to prison, and then, like, later on, like I said, like, starting in 2009, 2010, he started confessing to a bunch of other shit. And at this point, they think it's about 20. But could be more. Could be more. Now, the thing about this dude, Cottingham, he's, much like BTK, he was very into compartmentalizing. Like I said, he seemed to have, like, an alter ego, or I don't even know if I'd go that far, but he just had, like, a second life that nobody else really knew about. I will note, though, that if you watch, like, documentaries about this guy, one of the dude's co-workers who worked next to him at the next desk for 13 years and, like, knew him pretty well, said the dude talked all the time and bragged all the time about all the hookers he picked up and going down to Times Square and going to the swingers club. He didn't say he was murdering people, but he was pretty open with coworkers about, like, boasting about going down there. It's like, yeah, I picked up this hooker. They knew he was married and shit like that. Yeah, I picked up this hooker, and, like, I paid her like $1,000, and I made her do this and that, and she did it, and all this other, like, said he was like that. So he wasn't, like, keeping a secret that he was into, like, bondage and all that other kind of crap, but he was kind of using it to, like, show off to his coworkers. So it's, like, it's hilarious because this one guy that they interviewed that would work next to him, like I said, for 13 years, after he found out that this dude was the torso killer, he was absolutely like, I would like to talk to the police. It's like, I wanted to see this guy, like, strung up by his balls. Like, what a fucking asshole. So he wasn't keeping it as secret, I guess. I mean, obviously his family and shit didn't know about that. But like I said, he lived in New Jersey, rather, and he commuted into New York City. So I guess in that way, he was just kind of like, he comes into New York City, like, to go to work every day, and he's, like, in different mode, I suppose. And then he just goes and hangs out on Times Square and does what he does. And then he just goes back home and it all goes away, I suppose. I don't know. It's really weird. And I will note, too, that he wasn't real sloppy. He didn't get sloppy until the end. He was pretty organized. He was real opportunistic in the sense that he would just pick up whatever sex worker, or in the early days, he would just abduct people that were just walking down the street that weren't sex workers. They were just walking to work or whatever. But he was, like, real careful. Actually, they said when they, the crime scene I just talked about with the two women in the burning motel room, the guy said that was one of the cleanest crime scenes I've ever seen. Like, there was no blood spatter, there was no anything. So it's like, if this dude beheaded these girls in this motel room, which everyone is assuming that he did, where the fuck did all the blood go? Like, or, how did he clean it up? Because they couldn't find it. So he was, like, pretty careful. The thing about it, though, in that case, and one of the things that ended up getting him tied into some other crimes, was that he had taken all their clothes off and kind of folded them up really neatly and put them in the bathtub. And they actually used those clothes, like, because at first they didn't know who the women were. So they took mannequins and put the clothes on the mannequins and then put it in the media and put them on flyers and shit, like, all over the city. So it's like, please, if anybody recognizes, like, these clothes, like, please tell me who this is. That's how Dita Godarzi got identified, because a friend of hers was like, oh, yeah, I recognize that outfit. But like I said, the other girl, they still don't know who she is.
Somebody she met on the spot and took them there.
Yeah, so...
they were working girls. It was just...
Well, the thing about it was New York City in the 70s, and a lot of women, a lot of young women and girls would come there from other places.
Make some money.
Indeed, like, one of the girls that he picked up had literally, like, just gotten there, like, a day or two before. And, so it could be that she wasn't from there, and so nobody recognized her because she had just arrived.
Yeah.
Because that happened a lot.
She's just a missing person from another state.
Yeah.
They never figured out where she went.
Yeah. So it's
now her parents are dead. She's long gone, forgotten.
Which is really sad.
Sad, but that's the way that life was.
I mean, it's still possible that they might be able to identify her one of these days, because that has been.
If they have a DNA sample, they could just put that shit.
Yeah, I mean, possibly.
They'll find her family.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, CB said his co-workers weren't surprised he turned out to be a serial killer. Yeah, it's like, it seemed like at least that one guy, he's like, we were surprised when we heard about it, but then we were kind of like, kind of figures. You know what I mean? Like, all the shit he used to talk about.
The vibes of all these dudes, man, is off to me. They all have that pathological liar vibe. And I hate that. Which I run into it every now and then.
Yeah.
It's not all the time. There's one dude at the club who comes every now and then. Remember the dude that fucking showed up and report everything to me like he's my son? And I'm like, man.
Oh, yeah, I know who you're talking about.
I'm not your dad. I don't care where you've been.
Yeah.
That...
I just always got the impression that he was just kind of like really desperate for friends and
desperate friends, father figure, fucking kind of a pathological liar, very much trying to fucking impress. But that's the vibe where I don't think he's a serial killer.
No,
but every serial killer has that vibe to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This guy seemed more arrogant. Like, he really, really wanted to tell people that he was killing women and cutting their heads off.
Yeah.
But he at least had enough self-awareness to know that that probably wouldn't fly. But he would for real tell his coworker, which to me it's like, what, do you really tell your coworkers? Like in a corporate office in the 70s, oh, hey, yeah, I'm banging all these hookers and stuff. I mean, that's weird.
No, in the 70s you could do that.
I mean, I guess, but it's still a little weird.
Yeah.
It's, I mean,
he
nowadays...
was in New York?
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, now the key culture and fucking 70s love hotels and
well,
shit.
Yeah, but the fact that his coworkers thought it was weird, I mean, that shit.
Yeah, it's weird, but fucking he was trying to be cool.
Yeah, I definitely got the feeling that he was trying to be cool or, like, show off.
Well, I think there was a lot of leisure suit. Fuck, I'm fucking drunk.
Yeah, what the
leisure
hell?
suit Larry motherfuckers trying to be cool that fucking,
The weird thing
like
to me
time.
is that I always thought it was so weird. Like, dude, you don't really hear this anymore, but I kind of feel like it was weird, like, dudes bragging about paying for sex workers. I'm like, you have to pay for it and you're bragging like that's a flex?
I did it.
I mean, yeah, but you were that was a different situation.
I was in the service
you were
in Korea.
The surface. You didn't really have a lot of choice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You were
one day a month.
They only let you out like one day a month. It's like, what are you going to do? You know what I mean?
I was out of fucking Camp Greaves going to fucking Seoul and shit.
I mean, that's a different situation. It's just kind of like if you're just in a regular environment and you just constantly have to pay for sex workers because no one will sleep with you for free.
If you were in the 506 up in Korea in the early 90s and you didn't go to Hooker Hill, you were gay. You would be like, oh, you're gay. Because that's what we all did.
Well, yeah, like everybody did that. And that was, like I said, that's very much in the culture.
Yeah.
Like I said, that's a different situation because you guys were almost like a captive audience.
Yeah, we were prisoners.
Type of thing. Yeah. So
we were in a
like,
maximum security military prison, basically.
So that's not really the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about...
and my heart went out to them girls because they were in the same situation we were in.
Yeah, I mean...
They were young girls. They were, you know, in a brothel. They got recruited. Their government was behind it. It was military prostitution. I showed her a whole documentary on it, and most people don't know about that. But it was the American U.S. Army and fucking our CIA and fucking South Korean government got together to make a military prostitution effort to keep American soldiers away from their good women. Yeah, sad, but true. And they were just regular girls. Came from rice paddies and shit. Yeah. But we were both... I was a hooker, too. I was just selling my body to old men to fight the old man's enemies. They're selling their bodies to the old man to fucking fuck the men that are fighting their old... It's just... It was a flesh market.
Well, everyone was a prostitute in that situation.
Yeah.
David Brown says, when I lived in Vegas, I knew a guy who gave me serial killer vibes. He offered me a ride home one day, and I said no. He had dead eyes. I don't know if I've knowingly interacted with a serial killer. I did go to a school with a kid in first grade who turned out he wasn't a serial killer, but he did murder somebody later. Because I saw it many years later, and I remembered him because he was kind of funny looking and he had a weird name. So that's why I remember when I saw it in the paper, like many years later.
Yeah, but the bragging about hookers is strange for American culture.
It is.
I can understand it in Japan and in the East, where that's more part of their culture.
Yeah. But here, like I said, so you're just like bragging that you're pathetic and no one will sleep with you for free? Like you have to pay them to do it?
It's so much
like that's not a flex.
It's so much part of Eastern culture that women go to host clubs to spend
money.
Yeah,
but like I said, it's a different culture. It's not really seen exactly the same.
Right.
So, but here, like, I don't know. Like him just like bragging about it and it's like, yeah, she did whatever I wanted. I was like, well, yeah, you probably threatened her and, you know. Or
that's all he had to brag about.
That's all he had to brag about, I guess, because he didn't have anything else going on.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's kind of pathetic, honestly. So this motherfucker here was born in 1946. He was actually originally born in the Bronx, and he had 3 younger sisters. Now, his family was completely fucking normal for the time in pretty much every way. Very middle class, Catholic. His dad was actually the vice president of Metropolitan Life Insurance Company, like, you know, big insurance company at the time. So he had a good job, supported his family. They had like a decent living, a decent house and everything. His mom, stay-at-home mom. Like I said, it was very Leave It to Beaver kind of situation. And as I said, there are really no reports of anything that happened untoward. Like in his childhood, it seemed completely normal in every way. There's no alcoholism, no abuse, no divorce, no nothing. It just seemed like really, really normal. When he was about 2, his family moved to Dumont, New Jersey, which is like a suburb right across the Hudson from New York City. You know, which kind of a lot of families were doing at the time because, you know, they were in the Bronx and they're like, oh, it's, you know, getting kind of crowded and maybe the crime is getting bad and shit like that. And so, like, we're just going to move out to the suburbs. Like I said, very, you know, popular thing for families to be doing at the time. And then a few years later, when he was 10 years old, they moved again to Rivervale, New Jersey, which was kind of a more affluent suburb in Bergen County, which had really good schools. And, you know, it was just a really, really nice kind of, you know, middle to upper class kind of area. Now, he went to Catholic school, St. Andrews. And it was both boys and girls. It was, you know, it wasn't just a boys' school or a girls' school, as some of the Catholic schools were. Now, nobody that they talked to about him remembers anything particularly that stood out about him. They said that he was kind of a loner and that he kind of struggled to fit in a little bit. His eyesight wasn't great, so he wasn't really good at playing sports or anything like that. So he tended to do more solitary things, like he raised homing pigeons, shit like that. And so he wasn't like a weird loner, but he was just kind of one of those dudes. He wasn't real gregarious. Like, he didn't have a lot of friends or do a lot of sports or anything like that. Now, by the time he got to high school, though, it seemed like he had kind of fit in a little bit better. He went to, I guess it's Pascack, what the fuck kind of name is that? Pascack Valley High School. It sounds like a dirty word. Which is in Hillsdale, New Jersey. And he actually got on the track team, and he was, like, pretty good at that. Like, he didn't stand out or anything. And he particularly liked track because it was solitary. You know, you could just run by yourself. You didn't have to be on a team because he didn't seem to be into that. And when they asked people that had gone to school with him and stuff, well, do you remember anything about them? They said he was just one of those people that just faded into the background. Like, he didn't act up. He wasn't weird, but he didn't stand out either. Like, he didn't excel at anything. He wasn't super smart. He wasn't good at sports. He was just there. He was just kind of like one of those motherfuckers. You know what I mean? So, just nothing unusual. He was just completely normal in every fucking way and completely boring in every fucking way. So after he graduated, he did graduate at 18, and then he got a job at Metropolitan Life Insurance Company where his dad worked. I believe he first got a job in the mailroom and then kind of worked his way up to computer operator. You know, as I mentioned, this is still the 1960s, where computers were fucking giant things that took up like whole floors of buildings and shit like that. So it was a burgeoning field, and he took some courses in it and shit like that, and he actually turned out to be pretty good at it, you know what I mean? So when he was 20, he went and started working at Blue Cross Blue Shield, which is where he was working when he was caught, so he worked there for a very long time. And he worked there in Manhattan, so he commuted to Manhattan like pretty much every day, working as a computer operator, which, like I said, kind of a big deal at the time, working on the mainframes. So it's like all the early IBM systems and stuff. So yeah, and like I said, starting from when he first started working there, he didn't seem to make much of a secret of like all of his New York City proclivities, like all the stuff that he would do, like hanging out Times Square, like at all the swingers clubs and stuff. So when he was 23, 24 years old, he married a woman named Janet, who I don't know if it was his high school sweetheart or if he met her a little bit later on. There's not really a lot of details about her or about how they met or anything like that. And eventually they would have 3 kids together. Now, for 4 years, they lived in Little Ferry, at an apartment in New Jersey. And then later moving to Lodi, which is where he lived when he was caught. And as I said, on the surface, they seemed completely normal and boring in every way. Most of his neighbors said he was just a polite, normal, unassuming person. And his wife and children didn't really seem to have anything bad to say about him. Like I said, it would shock me if he didn't abuse his wife. But I don't know. You know what I mean? It just seems to me like he's the kind of person that would. But I don't really know. Now, here's the thing, though. There were, like, a couple tiny, I don't know about tiny, but small red flags. He was a little bit socially awkward. I mean, nothing wrong with that. A lot of people are.
Yeah, there's a positive and negative, though.
That's true of everything. So, because I'm socially awkward, but and I'm obviously not a serial killer.
Ancient Discoveries from Greece is in the fucking house. Good to see you, bro. Haven't seen you in a while.
Gramther says he sounds like a mundane prototype. That's exactly what he is. He's just a person that didn't stand out in any way, which honestly, I don't think that was the impetus that made him a serial killer. But I think sometimes people that are not remarkable in any way, sometimes if they're not really good at something, they think, well, I want to be known somehow, or I want to stand out somehow. So sometimes they go in the entire opposite direction. Which maybe, I don't know. I don't know if this dude had that much forethought about it. I think he was just into, like, kinky shit, and it just escalated.
Yeah. Now, Gramthers was saying that in Thailand, prostitution isn't really seen that much of a negative thing. The East is very different. They're very transactional. they would see dating as underneath prostitution in moral in standing. They were like, wait a minute, hold on, you went out with this dude and he didn't pay you? You weren't compensated, so everything's kind of transactional.
You weren't compensated for your time.
You weren't compensated for your time.
I get it.
You're right.
I get where they're
some kind of some kind of whore.
I get where they're coming from.
You fucked that dude and he didn't pay you. Yeah. So
because it's like if you're doing shit like on like for work,
then
like
it's not your fault. You're like.
I'm just saying, even in the United States, like if your job says, "Oh, you have to come on Saturday and do this team building thing," you're like, "Are you going to pay me, or I'm not coming?" You know what I mean? Maybe it's like that.
The concept of romance is a Western concept. It's actually Christian based, going back through chivalry and all that, of how to treat women and playing music for them and being a gentleman. That's not an Eastern thing. You know, if you're going to spend time with a man, he better compensate you. Because you're a commodity, you have value. If you're not charging him, then that means you're a worthless whore. Basically.
I get where they're coming from.
That's kind of what they're saying.
It makes sense from that perspective.
Right.
I mean, obviously, we don't think that. We didn't grow up like that.
Yeah, fuck that. The romance. Give me the romance. Give me the chivalry instead of all that.
I'm more into that. But like I said, I can see how if you grew up in that framework, then it would make sense to you. Because like I said, even when you explain it, I was like, yeah, that does actually make sense from that point of view. It's not wrong, it's just different. You know what I mean? And everyone's kind of, I don't want to say they're a slave to their upbringing, but it's just kind of like, it's hard to get out of whatever you grew up in, you know what I mean? You can, but it's difficult. So he wasn't real outgoing, and he liked routine, he liked, solitary pursuits, type of thing. Now, he did have a couple minor, well, I don't know if I want to say that, a couple sort of minor, comparatively minor, let's put it that way, comparatively minor brushes with the law. 1969, he got a DUI. He got a fine and a little bit of jail time. I'm not really sure how long it was. No, it was 30 days, 60 days, something like that. 1972, though, and keep in mind that they found out later on that he had already been killing people for about 8 years at this point, but nobody knew. 1972, he got charged for robbery and sexual assault. Now, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, that this was, he had picked up a couple, I think it was 2 sex workers, because I think it was 2 women. And he beat them, he tied them up and beat the shit out of them and took their money. And they, bless them, went to the cops. Because like I said, particularly back then in the 70s, a lot of sex workers, even if they got beat up or raped or robbed or anything like that, wouldn't go to the cops because they're like, if we go to the cops, we're going to get arrested for solicitation. And they didn't want that. So it's so a lot of them just kind of take it, you know what I mean? Which sucked. It's different now. But back then, if you were a sex worker, they're like, they're not going to do anything about it, or they're just going to arrest you. So these 2 women did report it, that he had tied them and beat the shit out of them and took their money. But the case was ultimately dismissed, I think because the 2 women didn't really want to show up in court or whatever like that. I mean, understandable at the time, or maybe something happened to them in the interim, I'm not really sure. Now, because it was 1972, obviously these incidents were kind of downplayed, because, they're sex workers, who cares, it was just that kind of shit. But obviously, like I said, as they found out later, he had already been killing people for several years at this point. It was just this one time he got caught. Not for killing somebody, but for beating somebody up and stealing their money.
Almost, Jen says, hey, there's sex workers, who gives a fuck. That is not how the cops, I'm going to defend the cops at the time. The cops didn't think that at the time. They just knew that sex workers, it was damn near impossible to crack that case.
Well, that too.
Because you didn't know who she was with and how many dudes she was with during the fucking work shift. So they knew beforehand it was damn near impossible.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm not
So
blaming them entirely, because a lot of times the sex workers themselves would not report stuff because they were afraid of getting arrested.
Yeah.
Or they just thought, well, nothing will get done about it, so what's the point? It
there
just
was
seems
no
like
DNA.
A waste of time. Yeah.
And there's no DNA tests or anything back then.
Like I said, it's a lot better because now at least they can probably catch that person.
The cops back in those days knew that under the investigative technology that they had at the time, the chances of them catching the dude was about 0. You had to wait until he was caught red-handed. Or a victim survived and identified the guy. That was really the only way they could catch him. And if they didn't have that, they were just like, well, fuck it, we lost that one.
I will note, too, that in the early 1970s, at least in New York, my understanding is, from everything that I've read, is that if you were sexually assaulted, you had to have at least one other witness who saw it. Not just you and the perpetrator.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they would not prosecute, which is fucked up.
Yeah, I'll tell you why. Because there'd be no way to prove it back then.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Because there was no DNA.
So, like I said, a lot of women
if a woman
would
wanted
just
to get
not
rid of an enemy,
report
she could
it.
say he raped me, and if you just believed her, they'd lock him up, and he might have been innocent. Because there was no DNA test. So I can see why they did that. Because there may have been women. They have evil women just like they have evil men, you know, and especially if they're inside organized crime or prostitution rings. See, you could get rid of a fucking dude by accusing him of rape, and if there was no way to prove that it actually happened, that dude could get sent off to fucking prison, and he didn't do it.
Although I will note, though, that from what I've read, false reports of rape are about as common as false reports of having your car stolen. I.e. not very common at all.
They'd look at the law theoretically.
Well, yeah, I know that. But I'm just saying that if you didn't have a witness, then... So a lot of people didn't bother reporting it because they knew that nothing would be done about it. But like I said, so these two women did report it initially.
Especially in the red light district.
That he had beaten the shit out of them and stolen their money. And he did get arrested. But because they didn't show up to the court date for whatever reason, I don't really know why... they dismissed the charges.
A woman in a red light zone is not going to get the same consideration as, say, some fucking teenage white girl out in the sun.
No, of course
not. They're like, you're in the game. You know,
I mean, like I said, they still don't. It's
Yeah.
better. It's much better than it used to be. But they still don't, I would argue.
Yeah, they see you're in a combat zone, and you've willingly put yourself into the combat zone. Bad shit's going to happen to you. We'll get them if we can, but we're not going to do backflips and fucking we're not going to spend millions of dollars on your case. That's just you gotta look at you got raped, you know, you're selling that pussy, you know, if he didn't kill you, then fucking what do we have on him, you know?
I said, they do take it a lot more seriously nowadays because like I said, they have a lot more resources at their disposal to catch this motherfucker. Back then it was just basically your word against him.
And back then if you sexually assaulted a prostitute, from the police's perspective, that's more like just theft. Because you stole something that you would normally selling.
Yeah, that you would normally have to pay for.
Yeah, so, you know what I mean?
Because I kind of feel like this dude, I did get the impression that he liked to hire sex workers, but he didn't want to pay them, and I think that might have been part of the reason why he killed someone.
Probably.
Because
it was cheaper.
What he said to his coworker said, he said he had these big, like a roll of cash.
Yeah.
Like in his pockets, like $1,000. And he would go and he would wave it. Like at the person, like, look, I got all this money. Like, you have to do what I say, blah, blah, blah. But it's like a lot of times he would kill them, so obviously he wouldn't have to, like...
Yeah.
So I'm sure he was just carrying the same wad of cash around all the time.
Sexual assault on a prostitute's not quite the same as it is on a civilian because she's giving it to him willingly. It's just that he didn't pay for it. So that's theft. You know, I mean, that's just, you know... Now, that's not what it really is under the law.
Well, obviously.
But that's what a cop would think on the street, especially with the technology
back
of the
then,
time.
for sure.
How could they catch it? How could they prove it? And how's this shit going to hold up in court? You know, just, you know...
It was just, well, like I said, the crime was really bad back then. It was just a bad situation all around.
Right.
Like I said, I'm sure a lot of shit happened that wasn't even reported. I'm actually shocked that these two women... reported it.
I would think most women would just cut it off.
Well, yeah, like when I was watching like some documentaries and they had like a bunch of like they had some women on there who had been sex workers in this time period in Times Square. They're older now and obviously they don't do it anymore, but they were talking about it and they're like, man, you would never like report anything. What the fuck? They wouldn't do anything. Yeah, it's like they would just arrest you. Yeah, it's like and nobody wanted that fucking static. So it's just like why would they bother?
They just
As long as
wrote it off as a loss.
Yeah, it's like no, like some of them got beat up and stabbed and shit like that. But
I'm saying they wrote that off as a loss.
They're like, you couldn't do anything.
You couldn't do anything about it.
You couldn't do anything about it.
It was a cost of doing business.
It sucked, but it's like we couldn't do anything. So.
And some of the girls that had pimps got beat up by pimps anyway.
Well, that too, and that was very accepted.
Yeah.
Also, like the pimps would just like beat the shit out of it.
I don't think
so. Sometimes if the John beat you up and took your money, then the pimp would also beat you up because you got
the money was gone.
Stolen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So not a great situation, obviously.
That's what I was saying.
To find yourself in.
That's why the shit needs to be legalized, and you handle all that shit through applications. Applications that are certified. Everything's above. You know who the client is. GPS the coordinates. You know that they're together during a certain time.
You got their driver's license. You know what his fucking name is.
That way,
you know
if anything happens to her, you know who did it. So, and he knows that he's being...
That you know where you live.
Yeah. There's no reason for pimps. Not in today's era.
No.
I'm not even sure there was reason for pimps back then.
No, there wasn't.
I think it was just gangs saying, you can't sell pussy in this area without my permission. That's all it was.
Because honestly, what would happen, because they talked about this a lot on the Netflix documentary, was that, girls would show up in New York, from the Midwest or whatever, and it's just like, they're going to make it in New York doing this, that, and the other thing.
Yeah.
Try to get a job, and they would have pimps hanging out by, like, the bus station. And waiting for them to show up. And then, like, if they looked kind of naive or they looked real young or something like that, they would swoop right in.
Yeah.
And just kind of get them on the hook for shit.
Yeah.
And, after a while, they couldn't get out, obviously. So, it was, like I said, it was kind of a shitty situation.
With today's technology, you don't need it. They have applications that basically kind of help these girls. They don't teach them anything, but... Because you have to know how to protect yourself.
Well, like I said, people are a lot more savvy nowadays, for sure. And
if I could write code, I could come up with a badass app for that.
I mean, they already have those.
But where you're tracking who the client is, where they are.
Okay. They have those.
They got that. That's what they would do. And then the girl and all her friends online on that app could keep track of the clients. You know who's who, and I've been with that guy.
Shit, bitch! Right. Like there's not even not even sex workers, but just women going on a first date with somebody they met on an app.
Yeah.
They will tell all their friends shit like that. This is where I'm going. Here's a picture of the dude's driver's license shit. Like, in case I get murdered, this is the bitch that did it. You know what I mean? Right. That's what you got to do. You just gotta cover your ass. You know what I mean? But like I said, I kind of feel like most people know that nowadays. Like back then, even though the crime was like exponentially worse than it is now, I feel like people were still kind of naive in a sense, and they didn't have the technology that we have now, so they didn't know as much about it.
Yeah. I'm not a believer in brothels. I've fucking been through that system in Korea. There should not be brothels. That's abusive system. No pimps, none of that. You should do it through apps, just like with Uber, and it should be secure.
I mean, it's safer just them being independent contractors, I feel. Like, the brothels are exploitative in their own way.
Yeah, it's pussy prison.
Yeah,
they are in prison.
Like I said, I watched a whole fucking series about that, where has its own issues. Like, on its face, it seems like an okay idea. Like, everyone's safe and tested and everyone's taken care of and there's security and stuff. Yeah. But it has, like, its own issues. It's also, like I said, really exploitative. Like, especially if the dude that's running it, like in the case of the thing that I watched, is a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Which I feel like is probably going to happen most of the time. Because most dudes that would get into that line of work in the first place are shitheads.
Yeah, it's going to attract bad dudes.
It's going to attract bitches. It's just
the woman has
the
no
nature
need
of
for
it.
that. She
there's
needs to have an app.
Nowadays, there's really no. It's not.
It should be just like a dating app. It's just that the client that's going to meet them,
just
it's already registered who that dude is, and he's going to have a score, so all the other girls can see. Yeah, he's worked with this chick and this chick because she can see his whole fucking.
And then everybody
history.
It should be like Yelp,
and
where all of the women that worked with him is like, he asked me to do this, that, and the other thing.
Yeah.
So everybody knows.
So she knows who she's in for, and the dude, he doesn't see his information. Okay, you can keep it confidential, but the girls see what the other girls have said about him. If she wants to work with him, she can. and they know where they're gonna be, and fucking they know the hours, and that's a safe way to do it. And it's not a public eyesore.
Yeah.
I grew up in Brazil. You got naked women walking down the damn middle of the street in a fucking wooded area or whatever, 3 o'clock in the morning, dangerous as fuck, putting that girl out like that. You don't need that shit. You don't need them downtown.
Like I said,
Keep
it's
it on
so
a down
dangerous.
road. It's between adults. Keep the shit secure.
I wouldn't walk down the street 3 a.m. fully clothed. Most places.
No. Brazilian hooker walked down the middle of the fucking street, fucking
Holy
ass
crap.
hanging out, almost damn near totally nude, maybe some tape over her nipples. 3 o'clock in the morning, and there's fucking
I would be
traffic going
terrified.
by and shit.
I'm terrified wearing kind of a revealing outfit
Yeah.
to the club, and like
Yeah.
that's not even downtown or nothing.
Yeah, she just jumps in your car and gives you head, and she doesn't know you from fucking Adam. And think about it. Think of what risk that girl's taken.
Yes, it's very dangerous.
All right? You shouldn't put a woman through that. Have her do that shit over an app. Better client who's going to pay $500, and she only has to do maybe 1 or 2 a day. Whatever.
Yeah, like I
$300
said,
yeah.
much with technology nowadays, like, which, I mean, obviously there's still going to be like a percentage of danger involved because there isn't anything like that. But it's just like, obviously it's going to be much better than just like working in the street and doing it when it's illegal, where you can't really go to the cops for help.
And it's an eyesore.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Yeah.
You know, nobody wants to. I mean, where I grew up in Daytona Beach, the main drag where all the hookers were was like there was a certain block along Ridgewood, I think it was, and I used to go down there a lot because there was a cool shop down there called Judy's Jazzy Boutique. It's not there anymore. That sold all the punk rock clothes and sex toys and stuff like that. And the women that ran it was a mother and daughter, and they were old, but they were like really cool, old crazy people. And I would go in there and like talk to them for hours. They were like fascinating, and they knew all the like weirdos from back in the day. They were like all up in the scene and stuff. And they sold like all the clothes, like all the rock stars and shit like that came to Daytona, which wasn't super common. But you'd see like Jen from the Genitorturers. She bought all her shit in there.
Yeah.
They knew her. They were friends with her and shit like that. So they had like all these like really cool stories. And like I said, the mom that ran it was like old as shit. So you could like hang out in there and like tell all kinds of stories.
Somebody says it's like Uber for sex. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one way to do. And if the girl's low end, she can't fucking land a $400 or $300 or $200 date, and she's gonna want to do mass. Then she can be on the app, and she goes, "I'm at this hotel room. I'll be here between this hour and this hour."
Yeah.
Fucking, you can wait in line if you have to, but usually they don't wait. You know what I mean? Every day.
Yeah, like I said,
And
as long as it's just much safer.
Safer. Yeah.
Like with all the technology, people know
Yeah.
where she's at. People know who she's interacting with. Everybody has a digital footprint. It's like it's just much
and you
much
pay
safer.
online.
Yeah, much safer.
You say if you haven't paid online, you can't come in. Because you pay online, she knows who you are, and the app knows who you are.
Yeah, because honestly,
right.
I do not have. I probably need another drink in a minute.
I'll get you one to come back.
I do not have a moral thing at all about prostitution. Like that's your body. You can do whatever you want with it. If you want to make money out of it, more power to you. Like it really does not bother me in the slightest. But like I said, I'm more concerned about making it safer. And like I said, women just being in the on fucking street corners and stuff like that, obviously not great. So I think with the advent of technology, it's made it like a lot safer, which is maybe why you don't see a lot of the serial killer shit that you saw in the 70s and 80s, because we didn't have this back then. So if you had to resort to sex work to make money, for whatever reason, either just to survive or for your drug habit or whatever the fuck, then yeah, you were gonna be turned out like on the street, and you would usually have a pimp, and they would usually beat the crap out of you, and it just wasn't a great situation. So it's much better like nowadays. If you want to do that, you can, and there's ways to facilitate that, where you don't need all of that nonsense. And like I said, it's still dangerous, but not anywhere near as dangerous as it used to be back in the 70s and 80s. So, okay. So even though, so he had like some slight, like I said, DUI, like minor shit, but then there was like the beating up of the prostitutes and stealing their money, like in the 70s. But like I said, he got away with that. It was just dismissed. However, I kind of feel like he sort of like, he started doing stuff in his mid-teens, it seems. And then it sort of, as most serial killers do, it kind of escalated until he got caught in 1980. And his big thing seemed to be, it was very, like I said, he wasn't disorganized. He wasn't sloppy, at least until later. But it was very opportunistic. He didn't seem to be like a stalker type killer, at least not to a great degree. He wasn't doing like BTK shit where he had like whole fucking dossiers on like what were like projects, as he called them, like where he would for months sometimes, like he found fun in like stalking women and like figuring out how he was going to break in their house and all this other kind of stuff. It seemed like he would sometimes, like in the course of his comings and goings, he would see a woman that it's like, oh, I see her going to work at this time every day or something like that. She seems interesting. So he'd kind of watch her. That was kind of the extent of it. And then, like, you know, one day he's like, yeah, I'm going to grab her and do this and that and the other thing. But, you know, so it was kind of like a quasi-stalker kind of situation. But as time went on, because I feel like a lot of his early crimes, as they found out later, were more focused around just grabbing a woman. And his early victims were not sex workers. I kind of feel like he got into the sex worker thing later just because it was easier and available.
That's what the women were.
His early victims were almost all teenagers or women that he just kind of saw around alone that he could just grab. Like that worked at a certain place, like he'd see them a few times. And
that took too long.
Yeah, so I kind of feel like as time went on and he got older and more confident, he was just kind of like, well, it's much easier to they'll just get in the car with me.
Yeah.
You know, if I show a roll of cash or something like that. So he didn't have to go to the trouble of like grabbing them and someone would see him and all this other kind of shit. But like most of his victims early on were younger teenagers, 13, 15, or were women who were just kind of going to work and he just like abducted them.
Where's Papa 77? He disappeared already?
I don't know.
He disappeared, didn't even send us a super chat. Yeah, just reminding everybody, fucking, if you like the chat, if you like the show, fucking please like, subscribe, and fucking super chats are open. Haven't got a single super chat this evening. I'm just passing the collection plate around for Jen. Doing what I do.
Yeah, doing what you do.
Doing what I do.
All right, so let's go back in time a little bit. Because like I said, he did get caught in 1972 for beating up a couple of prostitutes and stealing their money. But at this point, he had already been killing people at least since 1965, which they did not find out until much, much later on. So the earliest confirmed crime, and they only know this not necessarily through DNA, some of them are DNA, but most of them they know because when he confessed to it, he knew details about it that no one else would have known, like that they didn't release to the media, or he knew like real specific shit about jewelry, or when they raided his house after he got arrested in 1980, they found a bunch of trophies and they found these people's stuff in his house, you know what I mean? So that's what they're talking about when they say confirmed. So the earliest one that's confirmed happened in September of 1965. And that was, he murdered an 18-year-old woman named Alice Jean Eberhardt. And she was not a sex worker, as most of his early victims were not. She was just a nursing student. And she lived in her family's house in Fair Lawn, New Jersey, not too far from where he lived. Now, Cottingham, who was also 18 at the time, and this was actually, I'm not sure if he had just graduated high school or if he was in his last year of high school, but he was still very young. He said later on that he first saw this girl at Hackensack Hospital. He was there. I don't know why he was there, but he saw her. I don't know if she worked there or, I mean, I guess she worked there. She was a nursing student. So, we got a super chat. See how you do?
Who is that?
Oh, Papa said. Papa said.
Okay. Thank you very much.
I'm still here, just listening because I'm working on a new job, so I can't talk much.
Great.
I'm still here. LOL. Here's some cash for your collection.
Thank you very much, bro.
Thank you, bro. You really.
We appreciate it, man. You're the first. You're the first customer this evening, and just trying to get Jenny paid.
We are also like hookers, so like over here, just standing on the street corner talking. Yeah. And not really like hookers. We're like those people that stand on the street corner. No, we're more like those people that stand on the street corner like playing a trumpet or something.
And begging, yeah. They're hookers
with
too.
With the little thing out. Well, yeah, but that's okay. Like I said, no shame. Like I said, if you want to make money like that,
yeah,
I do not see anything wrong with that. I really don't. It's yours to sell. I don't really see the problem with it. So he had seen her.
More money showing up. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan? Who the fuck is Michael Jordan showing up?
You've got more money than that, Michael Jordan. No, I'm just kidding.
Michael fucking Jordan. He didn't even say anything. You just said somebody. Thank you very much, Michael Jordan. We've never seen you before. Yeah.
That's really funny. He's probably not Michael Jordan. Wait, is that dude still alive? Huh? He's not the one that died, right?
Michael Jordan? He might be alive. Yeah, he's alive.
God, I can't remember.
I think he's alive.
All right, so that's like all right.
Yeah.
But yeah. So he saw her at this hospital because she was a nursing student, and he apparently fixated on her, kind of, and he decided he was gonna follow her home. So he follows her home one night in late September of 1965, broke into her house, and then bludgeoned and stabbed her to death. Now, in this case, sexual assault was not reported publicly, although this was 1965, so it's possible there was sexual assault, and they don't want to say that in the paper. I've encountered that before. But I don't know. Now, I will note that this might have been his first crime. I'm not sure, like his first murder at least. So he might have not just known what to do. Like he breaks into this girl's house and then like he just started stabbing the shit out of her. I don't know. This is kind of a home invasion. And that kind of wasn't what his later shit was. He didn't really do home invasion. He usually did abduction type shit.
Well, a lot of these dudes start off as fucking peeping toms.
True. You know what? I didn't really get that. Like, because I know that a lot of the serial killers that we talked about that went on to do these sexual sadist type shit, a lot of them do start as peeping toms.
Yeah.
This guy didn't really get that impression. I didn't really see anybody say that.
He was watching and he broke into her house. That's kind of like peeping
He saw her at her job.
You're right, but then he followed her home.
And noticed her, yeah.
But then he followed her home.
Right.
And I bet you he was fucking hovering around that house for a long time.
Might have been.
And then he breaks in there to get her.
Yeah.
It didn't go the way he thought it would go, so he killed her.
That's possible. Like that might have been
she fought
why.
Too hard, something like that.
Yeah, like maybe which kind of makes me think that maybe this was the first one, because like I say, he's only 18 at this stage.
Yeah.
This is 1965, so this is maybe the first time he's like really excited. He's like, oh my god, I'm really gonna do this. I'm gonna follow her home. He breaks in her house. And then he thinks it's going to go a certain way, and it didn't go.
I got a feeling he was peeping too. He found out where she was living, and then he started. I mean,
it's possible. A lot of them do that kind of thing.
Yeah, he's peeping. Or trying to.
Yeah.
Maybe he didn't quite go up to the windows, but he was watching her going in and out.
I gotta sneeze.
And fantasizing. Because I'm going to go in there. I'm going to be so frightening. She's just going to roll over and give me the pussy. So he's got this fucking. Ultra macho, and that's not what happened.
He is 18, so he's probably
18. Comes in there and she's fuck you motherfucker, you know, and she starts fighting him and shit, you know what I mean? He's like, oh, this didn't go. I'm gonna kill you, bitch. This didn't go the way I thought.
And then
he
started stabbing you.
Yeah, stabbed her to death. That's how I'm imagining it.
It does kind of lead me to believe. I think this is maybe why
he thought it was gonna be like something out of his fantasy. Oh, please, no, you know, no. That's not what happened.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Legs go up and shit. Like, no, that's not what happened. Fucker, she fought the way a woman should fight. He was like, oh,
as
shit.
Most women will.
Yeah, and he had to kill her.
Much to their chagrin, I would imagine.
Yeah.
But yeah, like...
He was going to kill her anyway, though, so don't...
Probably.
Yeah, he killed her anyway. Because you got to get rid of the witness.
Yeah, I think even when he was 18, he probably was smart enough to know that.
Of course. You can't let them live after they've seen you.
Yeah.
They know that.
I'm not sure, because he only, like, literally, this is almost brand new. He only confessed to this crime in January of 2026.
Well, you know why?
So only, like, last month.
Because he was embarrassed of that one. It didn't go the way he thought it was going to go.
So that's why I suspect this was probably his first one.
Yeah.
Because,
that doesn't make him look good.
No. And like I said, it's telling that, as I said at the time, it wasn't reported that she was raped. Sometimes they didn't report that, though, just because, you know.
Was she?
I'm not sure.
Probably not. How'd
So
you didn't get it?
Yeah, so it might have been like he broke in thinking, like you said, that it would go a certain way, and then it goes a different way, and she's just like, "Fuck you, motherfucker," and like starts fighting.
Well, he's
stuff.
18, so he's not intimidating looking. So she was like, "Fuck you." She
was
fighting.
also 18. They were the same age.
Same age, okay, but still, another kid.
Yeah, so it's like some other motherfucker.
It's not like
shows
he
up in
fucking
your
bucks
house.
and he's
like,
fucking 35 and jacked
and big or something like that.
No.
I don't even know. Like, he had a knife, obviously, because he.
She just saw him as another kid, so she started fighting back.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you
and
do.
So he just started stabbing because he was mad.
Right. Yeah.
So it might have been that. So honestly, that case had been cold for like more than 60 years. And him confessing to that literally last month finally closed it. They didn't have DNA, but when he confessed, he gave like a bunch of details that had never been released to the public. And they were like, yeah, this is the motherfucker of the day, because only the killer would have known that. So they think that this was probably his first one, 1965, September of 1965. Now, in 1967, he did another one. Now, he only confessed to this one in 2010. And this was, again, not a sex worker. This was a 29-year-old woman named Nancy Vogel. She was actually married. She had 2 kids. And she lived in Little Ferry, New Jersey, not too far from where he lived. I think he kind of hunted close to home at first, as a lot of serial killers do, and then later kind of expanded to other territories, as it were.
He wasn't comfortable going away from
Yeah, but like I said, a lot of serial killers follow that pattern.
Yeah.
Like
well, they'll just go with what they know.
When they're young, well, because they feel more comfortable. They're like, I know my way around this place. I live around here. And a lot of times they'll see victims close to their house and be like, oh, I'm going to get that one. I'm going to get that one. And they know places to dump people, shit like that. I know it's like, but this is all the shit that they're thinking of. But then later, as they get more bold and they don't get caught, then it's like they can go farther afield. I mean, not all serial killers do that, but it's a pretty common pattern.
Michael Jordan just said something.
I believe I discovered you guys shortly after I graduated back in 2019.
Oh, you're a baby.
I was looking for more information on the Texas, Canada Phantom Killer.
Okay, yeah.
And your guys' video popped up.
Okay.
And down the rabbit hole it went.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I
got so many videos.
Like our thing is very... what's a nice way of putting this? It's not real thought out. Like, obviously, I do a lot of research and I have notes and stuff, but we drink on the show and we tend to get very distracted.
Yeah, and we take requests from our patrons.
We do. Like we have
yeah.
If you don't know, like,
we got patrons.
Friday mornings,
yeah.
I put up a poll on Patreon for our patrons, and also on YouTube. It's usually in the community tab, or whatever the fuck they call it nowadays.
Right.
And I put up a poll for whatever you want the next show to be.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing, people. I just found this out a couple of days ago. You can use artificial intelligence to find out what topics are best for YouTube shows, are best trending at this particular moment.
I looked that up after you said that.
In the fucking...
None of the topics sounded all that interesting.
Really?
No.
Well...
I have pee.
What were you looking for? Anyway, I saw somebody else do it though. Look up for the trending topics in certain categories, and some topics. He came up with some badass topics. The guy who was watching his stream, and I saw that and I was like, you know, we could always do requests from our subscribers, but maybe mostly sticking to whatever's trending in our category that might be a fucking better way to do it in order to get a bigger show. Because a lot of our income, probably more than half of it, comes from ad revenue. And ad revenue is very small, okay? We have a huge, we got fucking over a decade of shows out there making money for us with ad revenue. We had a certain format to where it would do ads throughout the show, and it drove people crazy. But that was the one that fucking actually made the most money for us. So we changed it. You are only going to get ads at the beginning of the show and the end of the show. Which I don't like ads either, because a lot of times I'm fucking trying to chill out when I only watch YouTube. And fucking and we stream movies. That's it. So I like YouTube too. So I know where you guys are coming from. So we changed the ads. But
Well, I took all the mid-roll stuff out.
all the mid-roll stuff's gone.
You do make more money from that, but
Yeah.
I watch YouTube too, and I also do not like that.
I hate it. Yeah.
So I took all of that out. I don't watch our videos back. I did leave on the thing that said ads at the beginning and end, which that's not onerous, but yeah, the mid-roll ones are a little egregious, I feel.
So we do have to make some ad revenue money. I hate doing it to y'all, but we get probably fucking more than half of our income for the show comes from that monthly check. If we have more people and more super chats, we could probably get rid of that.
Look at you trying to fucking...
Yeah.
Well, like I said...
But the thing is, though, is you need more people to get more super
And honestly,
chats.
we just started doing this show back in almost 10 years ago now.
Right.
Just because we thought it would be fun.
Yeah.
And I wanted to promote my books. That was literally the only reason we got into it.
Yeah.
And we just kept doing it. So honestly, I have a job. He's retired and has a pension.
Yeah, and I work around the house all fucking day.
You know, it's
cooking
like...
and yard work and fucking...
Money's always nice, but we don't necessarily
motorcycles.
need the money.
Right.
I mean, we do, but I mean,
Yeah. If the show was 3 or 4 times this size in terms of subscribers, and they were on the fucking live streams with fucking super chats or the proportional increase, we could probably get rid of monetization.
But the thing about it too is that it's kind of a push and pull, because I feel like a lot of stuff that makes money is stuff that's just like stupid.
It is dumb.
Outrage.
It is fucking dumb. Yeah.
And I don't really want to do that, because it's like,
I don't either.
That's what I mean. It's like, if I'm going to do this,
thinking about within our genre.
Yeah. If I'm going to do this, to me, doing the live streams and stuff like that is just fun. Talking about, I mean, I know it's kind of fucked up, but it's like talking about true crime and horror movies and stuff like that. It's just fun. And, if I make a few bucks off it, that's cool. But it's like not, I don't really want to spend a whole other, I have a job. Like, I don't want to have a whole other job researching, like, well, what's everyone mad at this week that we can do a show about? It doesn't interest me. I don't like that kind of content. I don't like content that's just like, oh, we're going to make you mad on purpose, or we're going to talk about this controversial topic so everybody watches it. It's just, that's boring to me. It's boring, and it's a saturated market. And, I just wanted to like drink and talk about murderers, It's like I said, people want to give us money for doing that, cool. If they don't, also cool. It's like, I'm not really worried about it one way or the other. I'm just doing it because I like it. I could have stopped at any time. Like I said, we've been doing it since 2016. We initially just started doing one show a week. We actually started doing mostly paranormal stuff. But as it went on, we kind of we added movie reviews, and we started doing more true crime, because to be honest, that's kind of what I'm into. But we do other shit too. Like, as far as is reasonable. I like any kind of mysterious, dark shit, you know what I mean? But like serial killers, that's kind of my thing. Like, that's the thing I'm most interested in. That and horror movies. Yeah, I'll talk about that all day long.
We're not so much into this movie. If I was into this shit for the movie, I'd have for the money. If I was into this for the money, I'd have my own show. It would be fucking dating advice, red pill shit. I could fucking kill it.
Do it.
I don't know if I want to fucking do it though.
That's what I mean. It's a lot.
Because
Doing these, it's a lot of
I
work.
would get so fucking famous
It's a lot of work.
that I would become a target. Because my shit would be funny as fuck. And
So,
I'm one of the few dudes that's over 50. I'm almost 60. I still go to the club. Me and Jen are friends with fucking Gen Z. We know Gen Z goth girls. I can tell you how they think and what they're like.
Yeah,
and
our
everything.
friend group is very wide
Yeah.
age range because
Yeah.
we're in the goth scene, which is not really age.
Yeah.
It doesn't really depend on age.
I'm looking at the millennial.
There's 25-year-olds, there's 60-year-olds. It's
I'm
like,
looking
and
at-
everyone's just gets along because
I'm
they're
looking-
into the same
I'm
shit.
looking at the manosphere dating advice from millennial creators, and so, the top ones they're okay, but they're very mundane, and they're very limited in their thinking, and a lot of those guys are self-defeatist.
I've
And
noticed.
they just they step on their own dicks all the time, and they overthink things, and they need a dude that has more wisdom and more experience to say, stop thinking yourself into a fucking corner. Okay? Now, a lot of the stuff that they're doing is from the viewpoint of a dude who has no fucking skills. Get some fucking skills. You can take a dude who's fucking average in every way, but if he's got fucking ambition, he can become quite a charming dude who can do very well in the dating scene. So it's always about growth.
Yeah.
Everybody starts off basic.
Yeah, like I
everybody's-
said, don't just be
Yeah.
a tool and
Yeah.
expect everyone to flock to you.
That's not
No
how it
one's
works.
Going to. You have to
And-
actually like work on yourself.
And Jen has seen me in action. Before we were even together, other women I've dated, dudes that I've dealt with, sometimes I'm like, I don't even want to show like that because I can't help these bitches. Because there are guys I've tried to fucking help and they don't fucking listen.
I think a lot of times they're self-defeating because they don't want to hear, well, you have to work on yourself. Nobody wants to hear that because it's hard.
Yeah, the problem
You
is...
want to hear that the problem is somebody
these
else.
the problem is a lot of times you.
It's like, problem a lot of times is you.
All right?
And you got to fix it.
Right.
I know that sucks.
You don't talk the right
But
way.
you have to fix
You
it.
may not look the right way.
You can't blame
You're not
everyone
wearing the
else
right things.
for
Your
problems.
expectations are wrong.
Yeah.
There's all different kinds of
That's
things.
all.
You're too outwardly focused. You're trying too hard. You're not an attractive dude because you don't have your own thing going. There's a bunch of shit that
Yeah.
kind of has to happen naturally. And there's certain dudes that don't listen. It's like they will never listen. It's not in their DNA.
They don't want to listen.
They don't want to listen. So
because they don't want
Yeah.
to do anything themselves. They just want to lay around on the couch.
they want it to be easy.
Yeah. And it's not.
Gramthers and I fucking were in fucking high school together. He's in the comment sections. Fucking he'll tell you. We were in the drama program together. It was easy. It was easy back then. Because I was cute as a motherfucker. And he was cute too. It was easy back then. As you
Well,
get
it
older.
wasn't just that you
it's
were
just-
cute. It was just that you were like a decent person.
Yeah, we were having fun. It was positive, and we were having fun. And fun is contagious. If you're negative, no, you're
Nobody wants to be around that. Man or a woman.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be around somebody that's
No.
a downer all the time, that's always talking about
You
nobody.
gotta be
Nobody
positive.
loves me. Everybody
Yeah.
hates me.
And
Guess
then-
I'll go eat worms. Nobody
And then
wants to
there's
be
all
around
this
that person.
right-left thing. Well, those girls are too fucking liberal. Jen is on the left. I'm on the right. But we're having fun because we're fun.
Yeah.
We don't take this shit that seriously because you're overthinking it. It's chemistry. It's not ideology that much. Now, yeah, you got some insufferable fucking women out there, but you got some insufferable fucking dudes too, and
There's
you're probably one of
insufferable
them.
everybody.
And you're probably one of them. Don't be fucking insufferable. You could crack any nut. If you're a charming dude, you could crack any nut.
I feel like it's not hard. Just
No.
be a person that other
Yeah.
people want to hang out
Have fun with them, and all that shit goes away.
with. And don't worry about it too much. Don't be so goal
Overthinking it too fucking much.
Gotta get this pussy. Gotta get this pussy. I kind of feel like they're too like laser focused, and women
Yeah.
can smell that like
Yeah.
a stench
Yeah.
from miles away.
Yeah, I'm fucking 60. Look at me.
So desperate.
You think this was fucking free? I worked for this shit. You could do it
Plus,
too.
you paid and took a lot of drugs.
I paid a lot of drugs and fucking worked out.
Thousands of dollars. Probably
Fucking thousands of dollars, lots of working out. But you have to have dedication to yourself. You have to have a good self-image. I didn't do this for women. I did it for myself. She knows why I did it. I did it because I was watching my dad die. And I said, I don't want to die.
That's exactly why he did it.
I don't want to do it and I was just...
I feel like the whole shit happened after, not even after your dad died, but the first time you came back from Mississippi after you had the bypass.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was watching my dad die through the bypass.
You quit smoking.
I was like, I'm quitting smoking.
You started taking tests. You started you were like, I don't want to go like that.
Yeah, I don't want to die a weak man. And I was used to being strong, but I was aging. And I was like, that's it. I can't take this. This is not me. I'm fucking Conan. What are you talking about? Literally. I'm fucking Conan. Me and Robert E. Howard would have been fucking best boys.
Probably. I feel like
we would have loved each other. Same fucking philosophy.
We did a show about Robert E. Howard, by the way.
Yeah, same philosophy and everything.
A few weeks back.
Right. So, same philosophy on everything. Another Southern motherfucker.
Tom's been listening to his stories.
Yeah, listen to his stories all the time. I was like, yeah.
He wrote some cracking stories.
Yeah. I want to listen to some of his
westerns. Sometimes we'll lay in bed and listen to him.
Yeah,
like on you. There's a guy on YouTube that reads them.
Yeah.
And we listen to him sometimes.
Yeah, and he see the movie. What's it called? Whole Wide World.
I think it's called The Whole Wide.
The Whole Wide World. And
I didn't even know that movie existed until one of y'all recommended it.
You can see it for free.
It's Vincent D'Onofrio.
D'Onofrio playing fucking Robert E. Howard.
And he plays Robert.
Knocks out. That's the dude that played fucking Baby Huey from Full Metal Jacket. Fucking and Kingpin from Daredevil. He's fucking knocked out. And fucking the dude from fucking The Cell.
Oh, he's
serial
killer.
Yeah.
We're still gonna do that Halloween costume one of these
days. So making girlfriends was always easy for me, I think, because I had a certain mindset the way I was growing up between Brazil and the United States.
Well, you didn't have a mindset like this motherfucker.
Mindset, fucking being positive, being fun, having interest in women, not being fucking negative when you meet them, to be very positive, and to try. And I was never trying to. Jen will fucking tell you, because she knew me when I was single. I was never trying to get in a fucking cooch. I was always trying to meet people and be their friends first.
That seems really hard for a lot of dudes to figure out.
Yeah. You want to be friends with.
That's what I mean about not being goal oriented.
Yeah.
Like I said, a lot of women, it's like dudes will like try to make friends with them
to with get a view to
and like women can spot that. Y'all are not subtle about it at all. It's like I know y'all think you're being sneaky.
No, I was lovey-dovey and friends with all the fat girls and all the ugly girls. Fucking, if they were cool, I loved them.
Well, I think, like I said, that was one of the things that
the hot girls loved me. The fucking ugly girl. I was friends with all the girls that were cool.
Everybody loves you, Tom. Yeah. I can't really think of anybody.
All the girls that were cool
that doesn't like you.
If you were negative, I didn't want
a couple of crazy people.
Yeah, if you were negative, I didn't like
people hate everybody.
Yeah.
But the thing that was kind of the biggest green flag, that I noticed more than anything about you, was that before I really knew you that well, I noticed you had a lot of female friends that was all across the spectrum, like I said. Super hot chicks, and you weren't dating them, but you seemed to genuinely like them, and they seemed to genuinely like you, and y'all just hung out. Like, you didn't seem like simpy or trying to get in their pants or anything like that. You were just hanging out with them like they were people, which a lot of dudes don't do.
They're just people, and I looked, and we were friends. And politics didn't have anything to do with it. It was just personal charisma and personal chemistry between me and all these other women. And I'd have chemistry with women that I would never sleep with, but I still just fucking loved them to death.
Yeah, because they were just, like I said, they're just cool ass people.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think that a lot of dudes shoot themselves in the dick because they think of there's like a chasm.
Yeah.
Between like making friends with a dude and making friends with a woman. It's just the same. It's just a person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're trying to like have an end goal, well, I can't be friends with that person because I want to sleep with them, or on the other side of it, I can't be friends with them.
That
that's what I mean. It's like
it's insincerity.
Yeah.
It's
any kind of like not being genuine like that. Like y'all have agendas, we know that.
Right.
And like I said, y'all are not as smart as you think you are. Like, women are very, like I said, dudes are not real savvy about how women think or women behave. But women, by necessity, are very savvy about how dudes behave.
Yeah.
So, so we know all yours little. It's not, y'all are not subtle. Y'all are not sneaky. Everything you do is very, very loudly telegraphed.
Yeah.
I think you're not aware of how loudly it's telegraphed. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So that's all I'm saying. Women are onto you.
Yeah.
They're onto you.
Yeah.
Nothing you do is a mystery. It's very, very transparent.
Yeah, but if you're a dude and you can't be fucking good friends and fucking all lovey with some chick that you'd never actually date, then you're not going to be very attractive to women.
No.
Because Jen knows exactly what I'm talking about. There's girls that fuck. I got so many fucking with chicks I'd never fucking date that fucking just stalking the fuck out of me. And it's because they really never had a guy who was nice to them.
Which is
I
kind
think
of sad,
that's part
but
of it.
yeah.
Yeah, you know, and who just
kinda
looked at them
sad
as a
happened.
person and was like affectionate to them. Which is, I understand it, but there's, you know, fucking Angel. I fucking love Angel. I would never date Angel. But
Angel's
she's
rad,
cute.
though.
She's an older chick.
She's a rad person.
I fucking love Angel. I don't think I date Angel, but I fucking love her. Fucking we're hugging and kissing on each other at the club, Jen, standing right there. Hey, how you been? This and that, you know, because she's my friend. A fucking bartender who fucking gets us loaded as fuck. She's overweight as hell. Fucking, we both kissing on her.
I love her.
Yeah. It's just you know, it's just that
She
kind of
hooks us
stuff.
up.
Be cool. Be cool to people, and shit happens automatically.
And it'll just happen organically. Like,
Yeah.
don't try to make things happen, because
Yeah.
that's not how
Yeah.
shit happens.
And
you
make
try
sure
to-
make sure to take care of your personal appearance, your hygiene, your grooming, what you're wearing, your fitness and everything. And people do judge you on how you look. It's not a very deep world. It's a
I
superficial
mean, you don't
world.
have to be like a fashion plate or nothing like
No.
that. It's just that, like,
Effort.
keep your make an effort.
Make an effort.
Make it at least look like you made an effort.
Yeah.
Don't go out looking like a slob. You didn't wipe your ass. And you got none of your pajamas and shit.
They got dudes in this world who are not handsome, who are fucking slayers because they got so much fun. Or they might even be weird looking, but they're slayers because they fucking have effort and they have
Like
charm.
I said,
and
I
charisma.
can work with weird looking.
Yeah.
I can work with anything as long as the dude, like I said, effort goes a long fucking way. Especially with women. Women love that. Because most dudes do not make an effort. They're just like, I'm just going to go out in this fucking slobby ass looking fucking shirt with stains on it and these big cargo shorts and Crocs and just shuffle around, my big old belly hanging out and shit like that. And like, women are just going to flock to me. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Sorry. We spend so much money on our makeup and all this other kind of crap. And I don't even spend, because I'm pretty low maintenance, but I know other people like spend a lot of money on shit, but you know, you got to do that shit too. Sorry. Or no one's going to like fucking pay attention. That's just the way the shit works. Okay. So where was I? I will never get through this. Yes, I will. So yeah. So like I said, earliest murder, 1965. However, in 1967, he confessed to killing a woman named Nancy Vogel, who was 29. Now, like I said, also not a sex worker. She was just a mom. She was married. She had 2 kids. And she lived not too far from where Cottingham lived, in Little Ferry, New Jersey. And she was actually going, this is the most wholesome thing ever. She was actually going to play bingo at her church and disappeared on the way there. And then, a few days later, they found her nude, tied-up body in her car. And she had been raped and strangled. Now, at the time, obviously this was unsolved in 1967, because nobody knew that Cottingham did it. Because he was only 20 at this point. But he basically said, well, they were just like, maybe it was somebody who knew her, blah, blah, blah. But it's like he later said, no, this was completely random. I just saw her around and I was like, yep, gonna get it. And that's what he did. You know what I mean? Now, after that murder, in the late 1960s, in 2020, he actually confessed to a bunch of other younger victims, teenagers mostly. And this was another thing. This guy, he confessed to a lot of stuff, but I kind of feel like his whole thing, and they were kind of onto this from the jump. He always was one of those motherfuckers where, well, I'll tell you some stuff about a murder I committed, but what are you going to do for me? And I mean, sometimes he used those words exactly. So he was always like, I have to get something in return. So sometimes they would have to promise him, because this was, when he confessed to this stuff, he was already in prison for other things and he wasn't getting out. So he was like, well, you have to promise that I'm not going to be prosecuted for this murder, or I'm going to get some kind of perk or something like that, or I'm not going to say anything about it. So over time, and like I said, it took many, many years for cold case detectives to get all of this shit out of him. He didn't just give this all up immediately. He was real reluctant, actually, at first, to confess to any of this. Actually, matter of fact, after they arrested him, he basically tried to deny everything and just say that he was set up and all this other kind of shit. He just played the victim, pretty much. So it took a really long time for him being in custody for him to actually start confessing. But in 2020, he did actually confess to a bunch of other murders. One of these, actually, I saw, if you've ever seen the show, I think it's on, I don't know what channel it airs on normally, but I usually watch it on HBO Max. People Magazine Investigates, and they have a whole true crime series of 8 or 9 seasons of it. And it's still running because they still put new ones up every Monday or Tuesday or something. And there was one about, I don't know if it was completely about this guy, but it was about this case, because I remember this. And this was unsolved for a long time, and they actually did solve it because he confessed to it. He confessed to killing a little girl, she was 13, named Jacqueline Harp. And this was 1968. And if you saw that People Magazine show, this little girl, she was on the, she was in the band, but she was a flag bearer, you know what I mean? And she was walking home from practice one night in Midland Park, New Jersey. The dude saw her. This was, I will say that she was a little bit outside of his... I feel like he didn't really get a victim profile until later.
This is a little 13-year-old.
She was a little 13-year-old, and she looked a little bit, but she had real short hair. She was very boyish.
She looked like a boy, yeah.
She looked like a little bit different than a lot of his victims.
Yeah. This girl was a hero, though, man. Fucking, I
this
like
poor
this
fucking girl, man. She was walking home from practice. She, like I said, she was a flag bearer, in the drum and bugle corps or whatever at her school, and she was walking home. It wasn't far, and the dude saw her and pulled up next to her. She was, I don't think she's, well, I don't know if she still had the uniform on. I think she still had the uniform and the belt and stuff. And so he pulls up next to her in the car and asks to give her a ride, and she said no.
She's like, "Fuck, I ain't getting in a car with you."
No, thank you. And started walking the other way and tried to ignore him, and he kept following her. And she's like, "No, man."
This little chick did everything right, but
she got killed anyway.
But yeah, she was outclassed. This dude fucking was.
Well, she was 13, and
she's 13. He weighs more than her.
He's bigger than her.
And I really respect this girl. She's a little hero, and I love the little chick.
This poor girl.
She didn't give him anything. She went down fighting.
She did, yeah.
She fought so hard that he had to kill her.
Yeah, that's why he killed her.
Yeah. Which is...
Because she kept fighting him and screaming.
Yeah. And look, that's a good thing. Because he would have killed her anyway.
True.
So at least she went down in combat and didn't give him the fucking satisfaction. She was physically outclassed. There was no choice.
She was little. She was a little, skinny, 13-year-old girl.
There's no way she could have negotiated her way out of this or fucking gone along with it and been okay. No, he would have killed her. So her fighting denied him what he was looking for, and I'm like, that's right, bitch. Fucking, you made it into Valhalla with the fucking Vikings and the Warriors.
I know. It's just a shame that happened to her.
It's a shame. No little girl should be put through that, but her instincts were correct. She fought to the death. Didn't give him nothing.
She did.
Which is like, that's right. Fucking right. I understand. I'd have done the same thing.
I mean, that's
don't give that bitch nothing.
What you should do.
Don't give that bitch
like I said, you might get killed anyway.
They're going to kill you anyway.
They're going to kill you
Don't
anyway.
ever let a motherfucker take you anywhere. Don't ever let a motherfucker
She did not get in the car.
Yeah.
He pulled in and said, hey, you want to ride? She was like, no.
No.
And turned around and started walking the other way.
Mm-hmm.
And then she was like, no, no, no. And she kept like walking. She only lived like not far. Yeah. And he kept following her, and she was like, fuck me. And she was like walking, and he eventually got mad and jumped out the car and just grabbed her because she was just like a little 13-year-old girl. Yeah. He was a grown man.
Yeah. Little Viking girl. She didn't get in, though. He had to kill her. Couldn't subdue her.
And then, like I said, he grabbed her, he put her in the car, he took her to this other, like, by a tree or something like that, and started, like, assaulting her. Yeah. She would not stop screaming.
Yeah. So he strangled her.
And this is fucking horrible, but it's like, he took off the belt that she's, because you know how when you're Flag Corps, they have a belt that has, like, a pocket in it that has the flag. Yeah. They took that off her, had her name markered in it and everything. Yeah. They still have it, like, in evidence.
Yeah, that.
And strangled her with that.
That was the best way out, though, because strangulation is a relatively painless way to go, because he could have cut her apart, beat her to death, later, and stab her. Like I said, he was doing he did that to the later ones. So no, everything she did perfect. She fought, made it hard. He got scared. He had to kill her.
And this was early. This was probably only his second one.
Yeah, and he did it by strangulation, which fine. That's a relatively painless death. Fine. I've been choked out before in fucking headlocks and shit like that, sleeper holds and fights. Is just going to sleep. Okay, so she did right. I'd have done the same fucking thing.
I just felt really bad for her because
like I said, total
she was so little.
But she minimized the damage. She got out of it with the minimum amount of suffering and the minimum amount of
it's just that shit was unsolved for so long. He only confessed to this like in 2020. That happened in 1968.
Had she not fought...
It was a cold case for all those years.
Had she not fought, he just would have put her through in a sexual assault that she didn't deserve to go through.
I think he might have sexually assaulted her.
That's what he would have done. Oh, I don't think he did that to her though. I think didn't he kill her before?
Well, at least he started to. I'm not really sure about.
I don't think it was completed action. From my understanding of the description of what happened is that
because there were apartments around and stuff.
He was forced to
and
kill
he was afraid that
she'd get caught.
That he was going to get caught because she was screaming. I mean, as you would.
What I meant was I don't anything sexual he got off of her. He wasn't satisfied with that. It wasn't long enough for him to get anything out of it. And that is what you do when you're in that female's position. He's going to kill you anyway. Deny him his satisfaction.
Oh, I definitely would, because I am the most spiteful bitch.
Fuck that motherfucker. Don't give him anything. Don't give him anything. Make him kill you. That's what I was going to say. And a lot of people are like, what? Oh, don't be a fucking pussy. I fucking volunteered to go to my first fucking war, the first Gulf War, in the infantry. And when you fucking choose to live by the sword, you're also choosing to die by the sword. She wasn't given that choice. It was forced upon her.
Yeah.
Okay? You die by the sword. Don't give that motherfucker anything. Make him kill you. Make him do it.
I mean, you don't want him to kill you, obviously.
But you have to.
But you have to fight.
You only have two choices.
Because he's probably going to kill you anyway.
He's going to kill you. You have two choices.
And maybe if you fight, I mean, there's a chance you might get away.
There's a chance that you get away. But really, here's the choices you're given. He gets what he wants and the satisfaction that he wants, and then he kills you. The other choice is he doesn't get what he wants and he kills you. Which would you rather have as a woman?
Well, yeah.
Don't give him what he wants. Make him kill you. That way it's an unsatisfactory experience for him. Don't be a triumph for him. Fuck that bitch. Make him kill you early.
Well, yeah. That's kind of how
Somebody pulls a gun on you and says, get into the car, go, fuck you, bitch, shoot me, run.
Yeah.
And he shoots you in the back, so be it. You didn't have to go through all that bullshit
largely that's what you should do.
Because he was going to put you in the back of that car.
I'm not going to blame you if you are scared in the moment and do what he says.
You have to learn to overcome fear.
Don't.
Because the fear is going to be even...
Don't do it.
The fear is going to be even worse if you get in that car.
Yeah, like think how prolonged that will be.
It's going to be longer and more humiliating. Just fucking run and zigzag when you run. If he hits you in the back, at least you fucking died that way.
Zigzag big.
Zigzag your ass out of there. If he shoots you in the back when you're zigzagging. See, that was so bad, that other girl, he pulled a gun on her. Not this particular case. He pulled a gun on the girl, told her to get in the car. She got in the car. What did he do? He raped her. And then he wrapped fucking duct tape around her mouth and suffocated her to death. Had she just run, the worst that could have happened is that he shot her in the back and killed her anyway. Okay?
Yeah, it's always, like I said, it's obviously hard to say because, like, in the moment.
I was born in this shit. Okay? I came from a military academy. Fucking, as a little kid, grew up, I was kind of fucking groomed to be a soldier. And when you're a combat soldier in the infantry, you're agreeing to die and to kill. All right? A lot of civilians aren't used to that. If you live by the sword, you die by the sword. If someone thrusts the sword into your hand, you're now in that same situation. Do not fucking fall prey to these fucking pussies. Don't give them what they want. Be brave. Make them kill you.
Well, like I said,
because they're going to kill you anyway.
From my point of view, it's just like, don't even say be brave. Just be spiteful.
That's what I'm saying. Brave and hateful. Be hateful. Fuck you.
Do not
make them do something to you.
Do not give them anything.
Because you don't want to give them a satisfactory experience.
Yeah, like I said, they're probably going to kill you anyway.
They're going to kill you anyway.
So it's just kind of like, don't give them the satisfaction.
Yeah.
Make it hard for them.
Yeah.
At least. You know? Like I said, not blaming the victim.
It's a very different situation when somebody pulls up on you with a gun and it's it's a sexual assault. If he takes you somewhere or tries to get you in a car, overwhelmingly the statistics are he's going to kill you.
It's a different situation if you're just walking down the street like a normal ass motherfucker and somebody just grabs you from behind. It's like there's not much you can do about that.
Fight.
Well, yeah, obviously you can fight, but if they're a lot bigger and stronger than you, there's not much you can do about it.
Still fight.
But you should still... I mean, I feel like that's always the best course of action. I don't think the best course of action is just going along with what they want.
No, that's almost always the worst, I think.
I kind of feel like that. Yeah. Like I said, every situation is different. You don't know.
Here's the thing.
My instinct is just don't.
I've looked at the statistics. The serial rapists that are just into the sex and don't want to kill people and tend not to kill people won't kill you when you resist. They'll run.
Because they'll get worried about it. Oh, it's too much trouble.
They're not really into that.
Make yourself too much trouble.
Make yourself too much trouble. The ones that are into the killing will kill you instantly if you resist them. Okay? So,
but that's better than
what they're going to do because they're going to kill you after.
Right.
They're going to kill you after. So
like I said, it's not a
resistance is always the best option.
I mean, I think that. That's kind of my first instinct.
Is no matter what they say. Because the dudes that kill you say, oh, it's going to be all right.
Well, I'm just kind of one of those motherfuckers. Like I said, in normal life, where people are just being normal and not being rapey or murdery, my instinct is like, let's just go along to get along. Yeah. But if somebody grabbed me...
Yeah.
Oh, instinctively.
Michael Jordan leaving. Oh, see you around, Michael.
Instinctively, I am just going to stick my fingers in your eyeballs or something like that. It's just my first instinct is just to, like, beat the shit out of you.
Yeah.
Which, that's just kind of like, I don't know why I have a lot of, like...
David Brown is asking, I don't know if you guys have ever did Lizzie Borden. Oh,
I think we did, but it was a long time ago.
Long time ago.
I don't even remember where we came down on that. I kind of
She did it.
I kind of feel like she probably did it.
She did it, yeah.
I mean, there's a possibility she didn't, but
She did it.
I kind of feel like she probably
Yeah.
did. We got another
Super chat.
also.
Who's that from?
Oh, it says the author that bumped into him was Peter Vronsky. Oh, well, so okay. So
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was the same dude that wrote the book about him later on, because I read that essay, and I didn't see that was the same guy. But yeah, he wrote. I didn't read the book, but I saw that he was the guy that wrote the book about him later on. So yeah, so Jacqueline Harp, like I said, I'm kind of familiar with that case because they did, I think it was a People Magazine Investigates, show about it. And they talked about that. So that one, that poor girl, like I said, 13, and she did everything right, and she ended up dying anyway, sadly. He also admitted that he killed another teenage girl, a 15-year-old named Denise Falaska. And he strangled her in the late 1960s. And then there was another girl, 18 years old, Irene Blaze. She was strangled in 1969. She still lived at home with her mom. And like I said, these victims, the early victims, were not sex workers. Not that it makes a difference or anything, but I'm just saying that earlier he was more inclined to target girls and women that lived near him and that he saw around, and he's like, hey, I just saw them walking around, or he saw them at work or whatever, and he just decided he was gonna get them. Later on, I kind of feel like he started targeting sex workers because it was easier. I think that was the only reason. So I kind of feel like these early victims, as I said, were more what was available. I mean, these girls lived not far from where he lived. He saw them walking around. They caught his attention for whatever reason. And he saw them as vulnerable, and he could just fucking get at them. Now, in February of 1968, he actually targeted a 23-year-old woman named Diane Cusick. And she was, again, not a sex worker. She was a dance instructor. And she was coming out of her car in the parking lot of the Green Acres Mall, which is in Long Island, New York. And he raped her and strangled her in her car and left her in there. And I think that this case from 1968 was kind of pivotal because this was kind of maybe one of the transitional cases, because prior to that, he had kind of targeted girls closer to where he lived. He just saw them walking around or saw them at work in a store or whatever. And this one happened in New York, and I think this was kind of him, his confidence was getting bigger. So he was expanding his hunting area in a way. Now, the early 1970s, there was further escalation, as you often see in serial killer cases. In 2022, Cottingham confessed to 4 additional murders in Long Island, in addition to Diane Cusick, who he admitted to killing in 1968. There was a woman named Mary Beth Hines, who was 21, who he said he strangled in 1972 and dumped in a creek near Rockville Center Bridge. Then there was Laverne Moy, who was 23. He also strangled her. That was also in 1972, later in the year. And he threw her off the same bridge as the last victim. Sheila Hyman, who he actually broke into her house and bludgeoned her to death. That was 1972, 1973. He couldn't quite remember. And then there was another woman named Maria Emerita Rosado Nieves, who was strangled in late 1973. So this, like I said, kind of showing a little bit of an escalation. He's kind of abducting girls. He's dumping them in public places. He's getting a little more bold about it. Mostly strangling them, but it seems like he was doing more violence. So in the mid 1970s, now this case in particular was interesting to me because this double murder, I actually talked about this in one of my true crime books because at the time that I wrote the book, this double murder was unsolved. But now they know that this motherfucker did it. And this was August 1974. He actually kidnapped a 17-year-old girl, Marianne Pryor, and a 16-year-old girl, Lorraine Kelly, from a mall. They were actually at the mall. They were shopping for bathing suits or something like that in Paramus, New Jersey. He kidnapped them. He took them to a motel and kept them there for 2 or 3 days.
Damn.
Raped them repeatedly, tortured them, and ultimately drowned them in the bathtub. And as he confessed later on, he took one of them into the bathroom and drowned her while the other one was still alive and knew what was happening. So she knew that was going to be what was going to happen to her next.
Yeah. What'd she say? Did he say?
No, he didn't say anything about it. Well, why would he say anything about it? He doesn't care about them.
No, I would be interesting to know what that girl said to him. The second one. Like, don't do it or whatever. Because, what's his name did the same thing. Fucking, oh man, I'm trying to blank on his name. Fucking, the greatest serial killer of all time, supposedly. Fucking,
Well, which one? What are you talking about?
The one that they're always fucking holding up as...
Ted Bundy?
Ted Bundy, yeah. Ted Bundy, they're always holding him up as something. He killed one girl in front of the other. To, like, show his power.
Yeah, I think that's what this dude was doing.
He didn't ever quite say what the second girl had said to him afterwards.
This dude didn't either, as far as I saw.
Yeah.
Like I said, I watched a lot of footage of this dude's confession.
It makes me wonder if it isn't as cool as they expected it to be. Because if it was, they would have bragged about it.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't say anything. Maybe they get resistant, like "fuck you." So it's not.
Or maybe they're so scared they don't say anything.
Or they don't say, they just shut down. Maybe. And then
I mean, because that's a possibility.
That isn't enough to brag about. Yeah, it's just weird the way you guys. But yeah, you drown one in the bathtub, and then the other one knows. And then the first one, what is he got her thrown up against the damn wall in the bathroom?
She was like tied up.
This first one that died. So when he grabs the second one, is the first one still in the bathroom, dead?
I'm not sure. Like I said, he kept them for a couple of days.
Must have been tied up, huh?
And the thing about it, well, yeah, they were.
And he was in there with them, keeping them from running away?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it was 2 or 3 days he kept them.
How old were they?
16 and 17.
Oh, so it's easy to control.
Like I said, he kidnapped from a mall.
Yeah. What an asshole. Makes you mad. Makes you mad, but there's nothing you can do about it. It happened a long time ago.
And I will say, like I said, this crime was unsolved for a long time. I wrote about this case in one of my books because at the time that I wrote the book, like I said, it was unsolved. They only got him to confess to this by essentially stroking his ego.
Yeah. Because
one of the big things that he was real big on was that, well, the reason they didn't catch me was because I kept changing my shit up and I did stuff different. I did one case where it's like they didn't even know, like the coroner got it wrong. They didn't even know what the cause of death was, blah, blah, blah. And after a while, like they started like talking to us like, well, tell us about that. Well, what was one case where the coroner got it wrong and like you fooled everybody and blah, like trying to like stroke his ego. Like, everybody got it wrong. Tell us about that.
Yeah.
And he finally confessed to this. Now, the coroner at the time did not realize that the 2 girls had been drowned because they had so many other injuries because they'd been tortured over a couple of days. So he wasn't really sure what the cause of death was. And so he was seemingly, and I saw the snippet of the interview where he confessed to this, he was seemingly very proud of the fact that he had drowned them and that the coroner didn't figure it out. That's how they got him to confess, by basically like...
What did the coroner think?
I'm not. I don't remember what the original. I think it was like undetermined or something like that, because they were so messed up.
Where'd they find these bodies?
I don't remember at the moment.
Okay.
I don't remember, but yeah. So they actually just kind of like played to his ego.
Yeah.
By basically saying, "Ooh, well, tell us about one case where you fooled everybody because
you're
so smart."
They must have found him in the hotel room, Dad.
Because he clearly thought he was way smarter.
Yeah.
Which a lot of criminals do, I guess. I think they're way smarter than
Papa said that he thought Bundy was full of shit when he said he killed one in front of the other. Too much time passed between them. It's been so long that I don't remember exactly the story. But you might be right. I just remember reading a book where that was brought up, and that Bundy said that he had two of them captive and killed one in front of the other.
I mean, some of them do that.
But that was all I remember from the case. I don't remember
for
dates or
like power reasons because they get off on it. But you know. So yeah, so that's how they got him to confess to that one and finally close that case, which has been cold for a very long time. So as I said, like, throughout the 70s, though, it seems like he started targeting sex workers in Times Square, because that's where he went every day for work. And it seems like it was easier than just abducting random-ass women off the street, right? Because they would usually willingly get in the car with you if you flashed some money at them. So I feel like the peak of his sadism, if you want to put it that way, was between 1977 and 1980. Like I said, 1980 was when he got caught. At that point, he started really getting into... I mean, the shit was fucked up before, honestly. But by the time the mid to late 70s came along, he was doing the whole torture, dismemberment thing, and setting the bodies on fire and whatnot. And like I said earlier, like... the shit that he did in the motels in Times Square in the late 70s, that's what got him the whole moniker, the Torso Killer and the Times Square Ripper and all of that. So yeah. I kind of feel like, yeah. So, let me see. Let me just get through this kind of shit here. So I already talked about the double murder that he did in 1979 with the firefighters showed up, you know, just in case you weren't here at the beginning. Found two bodies, both of which were headless and also had no hands. And, yeah, so there were two sex workers, one of which has been identified, the other of which has not. And at the time, they did not know who had done that. And I will say that he did a couple more before they caught him. Because that was kind of the crime that got him on the map. And got him to name the Torso Killer and everything. But that wasn't the only one. So a few months after the double murder in Times Square, the two headless sex workers, May 15th, 1980, another hotel, the Seville Hotel, on East 29th Street, the housekeeping went in the room and found a mutilated body. And this one was a 25-year-old woman, also a sex worker, named Jean Rayner. This woman had been strangled, her throat was cut, and her breasts had been cut off and stuck on the headboard. And then he had also set the room on fire, as he had before. So... this was, I mean, obviously they knew at the time this was probably the same dude. They just didn't know who it was at the time. But yeah, the whole thing where, and I've seen the crime scene photos. Please don't look those up. Where she's like laying next to the bed. But yeah, he cut her tits off and stuck them on the headboard of the bed. Just to do, they asked him about that. And he said, well, I just wanted to do something different. He just wanted to do something different. Fuck, man. What the hell? I don't understand these people. So he had also done that one after the double murder. And then he did another one in Times Square. His final known murder before he was captured. Because I'll talk about how he got captured in a minute. Because he almost killed that girl too. But thankfully she got away. This girl sadly did not. This was a 19-year-old named Valerie Ann Street. This was May 5th, 1980. Not too long after the other one. He really liked particular motels. And he would take to the same couple of motels. This young woman had not been in New York City very long. She's actually from Florida originally. I think she was from Miami. And she had just arrived in the city and kind of got, through whatever desperation or whatever. She ended up being, getting into sex work. So she, picks him up as a client. They check into the Hasbrook Heights Quality Inn under an alias with Richard Cottingham. Over a period of time, he tortured her, raped her, and strangled her, and then stuffed her body under the bed and left. Housekeeping came into the room to clean it, and the maid, when she was vacuuming and something hit something under the bed, and she looked into there, and there's a fucking body under the bed.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would never want to be.
I heard that story.
Holy crap, man. Hotel maids, motel maids, I feel like they don't get the fucking... Yeah. Because they probably... I mean, depending on where the motel is.
There was another case
Holy shit, man. They probably run into this crap all the time.
There was another case where there was a dead woman underneath the bed, and it had been under there for like 3 or 4 days, and customers had been in.
I remember that one.
Remember that one? And then without any complaints, and then they fucking found out.
Other than people are, well, I thought it smelled kind of funny in there, but
yeah.
I mean, it's like if it was a dead body under the bed, you'd think it'd be a lot more than like smelling funny. It would be like you couldn't even like go in there, but
well, no, it took a couple days. It took a couple days for it to start smelling bad. And that particular hotel, from what I remember, was like a hookup hotel. It was like a hooker hotel.
Okay,
they're not going to be checking out underneath the bed. You know what I mean?
I guess.
But a couple days later, like, this kind of stinks in here.
I'm always kind of paranoid about it, though. If like I don't stay in hotels that much, obviously, but it's like I'm always just kind of like.
If you go to a cheap hooker hotel, check underneath the bed.
Check the other side of the mattress and make sure there's not like blood stains and shit like that. You never know.
Dan Bell would be checking all over that shit.
If you've ever seen Dan Bell's show, Another Dirty Room, he'll stay in like a bunch of... He hasn't done one for a while. I think he's still doing them on his Patreon. But they'll go and stay in like the sketchiest motels like ever. And they'll pay and they'll stay in the room and they'll film there like all night. And they will like do a deep dive. Like they will turn the mattresses over. Like they'll pull the bed frame up. They'll move all the furniture. They'll do like a black light and shit like that. And most of the time those rooms are fucking disgusting. And honestly, like some of the rooms, they've turned the mattress over and I'm like, a couple times I'm like, legit, somebody probably got murdered in there. Just gonna say. And they just turned the mattress over and just put the sheet over like nothing happened. You know what I mean? Because they didn't want to buy another mattress. So. But yeah, I can't imagine. Man, that's got to be like the shittiest fucking... One of the shittiest jobs ever. You don't get paid much. You're cleaning these hotel rooms. I'm sure most of them are fucking filthy. And then like you're just doing your ass job like fucking vacuuming or whatever. And there's the fucking body under the bed. Jesus Christ. So yeah. So the maid found her. Yeah, so not fantastic. And now, okay, so how he got caught, I do want to talk about a couple other murders, because there were more. But I want to talk about how he got caught, because it was kind of along these similar lines. It was along these times where he was having a really good time being in Times Square, picking up sex workers, going to swingers clubs, and he would just take these women back to motels. He would flash like a wad of cash at them. Like a lot of his coworkers said that too. Like he had this big roll of bills like in his pocket all the time. And he bragged about, yeah, I just show them this and they'll do whatever I want, blah, blah, blah. Like he would say shit like that. So he would go and do that. And then once he got them back to the room, he'd be like, hey, I'm into bondage or whatever. And then he would like handcuff them and they couldn't move. And then like he could do whatever he wanted. So a lot of times he would, torture them and shit like that. Which they didn't sign up for, clearly. So this is how they caught him. Now, not too long after the Gene Rayner murder, like the woman that was found under the bed by the maid. May 22nd, 1980. He actually picked up another sex worker who was only 18 this time. Her name was Leslie Ann Odell. She was originally from Olympia, Washington, and I don't think she'd been in New York City that long. But she just came there and fell into sex work, as a lot of women did. And he's like, hey, I've got all this money. I'll pay you X amount. Like, he said he would pay her some exorbitant sum if she would come to New Jersey with him. Because a lot of hookers would be like, I don't want to go to fucking New Jersey. Come on. But he'd be like, no, man, I'll give you, like, all this money. So someone would do it because it was a lot of money. And especially if they weren't, you know, real savvy or if they were kind of new at it or whatever. So he took her to New Jersey. And then he took her to the Quality Inn, which is a motel he was real into. He checked in under an alias. And then once he got her into the room, he tied her, he bound her with handcuffs, put a leather thing, like in her mouth, so she couldn't scream, put a collar on her, and started assaulting her. Like, he started cutting her with a knife, biting her. He was a biter. You know, just sexual torture. And she was in there for several hours. Now, at some point, he asked her to give him... This is gross. I'm sorry. He asked her to give him a tongue bath. Like, he wanted her to, like, lick him all over. Which... Yeah. But, you know what I mean? So, especially considering what this dude looks like in acid.
Yeah.
So she was like, okay, well, you have to, like, fucking untie me to do that, because obviously I can't...
After he cut her up?
Yeah, he kind of cut her up a little bit.
Yeah.
So now he had a gun, and he was, like, threatening her with it. So he unties her to do the tongue bath, and she manages to get the gun. I think it had, like, kind of fallen down or was, like, under the bed or something like that.
I remember this one.
And she picked it up and pointed at him and shot. Unfortunately, it was fake. Yeah. She thought it was real. It looked real.
Fake gun.
I mean, good thinking.
Yeah.
She didn't know it was fake, though. So she's like, I'm going to shoot you, bitch. Bam! But she's like, oh, shit, it doesn't work. So at this point, she's like, fuck me. And she starts screaming her head off. Which, you know, good thinking. She screamed so loud that other people complained. And so the staff came up and knocked on the door and was like, hey, what the fuck is going on in there?
Yeah.
And she goes to the door and he tells you, better not, I'll kill you if you fucking say anything. So she goes to the door and she's basically sticks her head out and they're like, hey, is everything okay? Yeah, everything's fine. Like that. Yeah. Like, that's what the cop did. Like, he's just like, yeah, she's like, fine. You know what I mean? It's like she was making hand gestures and shit. So the staff were like, gotcha. So they went and called the cops.
That's how you do it. She made a shit ton of noise, fucking called attention, and then fucking gave the signal. Fuck. Yeah, everything's good.
Yeah, cool.
I'm real good. Yeah, very good. Yeah.
Yeah, she did that kind of shit.
Yeah,
which, like I said, good for her.
Yeah.
That's exactly what she should do.
And she went for the gun and pulled the trigger, but it wasn't a real gun.
But it wasn't a real gun. She didn't know that, though. It looked real. Which, like I said, good thinking, but, you know.
When it gets this bad, he's going to kill you anyway. It's you better fucking take action.
Yeah, so she did. This girl's a fucking hero. She got this dude caught.
Yeah.
Which he might not have been. So her hand signals and stuff, staff were like, gotcha, and they went and called the cops. So the cops showed up, like, quickly. Because people had died in that hotel already, like, recently. So they're like, okay, something bad's going on. So they got there. When they got there, this motherfucker was trying to flee down the hallway. He had a bag with him. I mean, they caught him. The bag that he had with him had a whole ass torture kit in it. There's handcuffs in there. There's a switchblade, 2 slave collars, replica pistols, leather gag, and a whole bunch of, like, date rape drugs, like prescription drugs.
Yeah.
Because he drugged a lot of women, too. I don't know if I mentioned that or not. That was another thing. Like, sometimes he would meet, even if they were sex workers, sometimes he would meet them, like, in a bar or, like, the swingers club or whatever, and he would drug their drinks. Like, he would do that, too. So a lot of times he didn't have to force them. He just drugged them. So he did that too. And he kept a lot of that shit in his bag. So he was fleeing and the police were like, I don't think so, motherfucker. And they caught him. Now, Leslie Odell sadly had been beaten very badly. Was all cut up. He had bit her breasts like really bad. Like her boobs are all fucked up. Like he bit them. She had a bunch of knife wounds and stuff like that. But she was thankfully still alive. And they took her into custody and she gave immediate testimony. So like I said, this girl's kind of a hero because she was the one that got him caught. Because she described everything that he did. So after this, they were like, well, obviously this is the same motherfucker that did these, earlier murders. So they got a search warrant on his house as soon as they found out who he was. His house in Lodi, New Jersey. And when they did the search on his house, they found a key belonging to Marianne Carr, who I'm going to talk about a little. Marianne Carr was actually a woman who he had abducted from where she lived. Her apartment complex was where he used to live. He used to live in that apartment complex, but had since moved. And I guess he went back there and saw her. She was like an x-ray technician or something. And he abducted her, took her to that motel, raped her, tortured her, murdered her, and then dumped her in the parking lot. Like, she still had her nurse's uniform on, but he took her shoes for some reason. But like I said, they didn't really associate the two things. I think a lot of the problem stemmed, too, from this is the 70s, and the crimes were happening in New York and in New Jersey, and back then they didn't share information, like the two jurisdictions. So they didn't realize, and the MO was slightly different, so they didn't realize this was the same guy, like, until after they caught him. So I think there was a lot of that going on, too. So when they invaded this secret room that he had in his house, like I said, locked basement room that the wife is not allowed to go in, that is a huge red flag. He's a fucking serial killer. Only serial killers have that. Sorry. They do. It's like, why would you have that otherwise? Like, what would be in there? It's like, oh, it's just porn. Yeah, it's porn. Everybody's seen porn. That's not a big deal. Like, unless it's kiddie porn or murder shit, like, why would you lock it otherwise?
I don't know how they thought that they could get away with that back then.
Like I said, I guess people were just more like
a cultural thing for the time.
I think it was a live and let. It was like, well, I'm just a woman. I'm not allowed to know what he's doing. Man stuff down there.
Yeah.
Like I said, even if it was just porn, it's like everybody knows about porn nowadays. Like I said, unless it's kiddie porn or it's like illegal shit, like there's really no reason to have that. So yeah, so we had this locked room. They went through that. So they not only found like a bunch of fucked up porn. It was like, he was in like bondage porn. I don't know if he had snuff shit, but it's like he had
it's probably just fucking basic bondage bullshit.
I think the worst thing was he had like a fuck ton of like trophies
from the
and
victims.
Stuff that belonged to the victims. Yeah. And he had like necklaces that they thought like been used to strangle some of the victims too. Like that they were theirs and like that he had taken back with them. Like as, So not great. So yeah. So they found a bunch of stuff there. And they had a bunch of other, they did bite mark. So I think Ted Bundy got kind of caught on
bite
that
mark,
shit too. Yeah, like because he
biting people's booty.
Because like I said, he was a biter. This guy.
Yeah.
So they had that evidence also. Now, initially, they charged him only with what they caught him red-handed on, which was Leslie Odell's assault, attempted murder, aggravated sexual assault, kidnapping, possession of weapons and controlled substances because of all the stuff they found in his bag. But after they caught him, they realized, holy shit, this is probably the torso killer because of the similarity in MOs. So they started looking into his backstory a little bit more. And tied him in with the torso cases and Gene Rayner and Valerie Street's murder. Now, when they first took him into custody, look at Pookie on the phone.
Oh yeah, it's been all night. It's been all day. She does this constantly.
She is a
I can't even
daddy's girl.
I can't even take a nap during the day. It's constantly fucking with me. She's a daddy's girl.
She loves her daddy.
Yeah.
She's like always like constantly pay attention to me.
Yeah, constantly fucking with me, trying to keep me awake and pet me. Give me this, give me that.
She's very attention.
Yeah, she's a daddy's girl.
Yeah, she definitely is. So when they first caught him, he initially denied everything. You know, you're framing me. I mean, he couldn't deny the Leslie Odell stuff because they caught him like red-handed, like literally running out of the motel with the bag, like out of the room. So he couldn't really deny that. So how he spun that was he said, "Oh, it was consensual. I paid her $180, and she said that she would do all that stuff. Like, so no big deal, right?" But obviously nobody bought that, you know, because she was screaming her fucking head off and tried to shoot him. And he actually maintained that stance for many years. And actually, he even attempted, I don't know how hard he attempted, but he attempted suicide a couple times in jail, saying it's like, I've been framed. Which, okay. Playing the victim, that's kind of what they always do. The first time was in 81. He tried drinking a bunch of liquid antidepressant. And then in 1984, he tried again by slashing his forearm. That was in front of the jurors, so I feel like that was a little performative. So yeah. Now, as I mentioned earlier, once he was in prison on these charges, because obviously they caught him red-handed on the Leslie Odell stuff, and then they had a lot of other evidence tying him to the other murders, the Times Square torso murders. But as time went on, people were like, man, there's like so many other crimes that happen in New York and New Jersey that are just like really similar to like the MO of this motherfucker. And they became convinced it's like, we've got to talk to this guy and get him to like confess to this stuff. So starting in about 2009, there was a guy named Robert Anzalotti, who was a detective in Bergen County, New Jersey. And he kind of made it his mission to close as many cold cases with this motherfucker, like get him to talk as much as he could. And I will say, like, there's, if it's on Tubi if you want to watch it, and it's like 3 hours, and it's kind of focused on this guy and like him talking to Cottingham and getting him to confess, and it took him like 10 years. Like he said, he's like, at first he didn't want to say anything. He just, oh, I've been framed. I didn't do any of this stuff. It's like, yeah, I went to hookers and stuff like that. But they, you know, it was all consensual. I paid them to do all of this stuff. I'm into BDSM, all this other kind of crap. And he was trying to like deny that he had killed anybody. So this detective had to like go and like gain this dude's trust over years and years and years. And he's like, basically it took me like 6 years before he would even confess to one thing, you know, other than what we already knew that he did. And then he just kept at it. And actually he retired, and then he kept at it after he retired. Because he's like, I just wanted to close all these fucking cases, man. And he's just like, and I knew this dude did more than he said.
Dude, that cop went above and beyond. He's
He
retired and he's still fucking...
Yeah, well, he was just...
He's retired and
well, he's
still
like, look, I have daughters.
Yeah.
He's like, I understand... Like, I get where, like... Because, like, I just want the families of these victims to, like, know what happened.
Yeah, well, he's an evil man. And you want to know what exactly happened, yeah.
So he just couldn't let it go.
Yeah.
So, like I said, mad respect to this dude because he just kept at it.
Yeah.
And the dude, like, I watched some of the footage, like, the dude's frustrating because he does not want to... He wasn't like... I mean, the dude we talked about last week, Sean Vincent Gillis, like, as soon as they caught him, he was just like, yeah, you caught me. And he just, like, wanted to talk about it. He just talked and talked for 40 hours. Confessed to all kind of shit that they didn't even know that he did. This dude's like the opposite. Like, he seemed to like want to brag, but when he got caught, he was like, nah, man, wasn't me. It was all consensual. I didn't do any of that shit. I don't know any of these people.
He might have been holding out some kind of hope that they'd let him go. for a
Yeah,
while.
I'm not
And then
really
6
sure.
years
And,
into it, he's like, they're not gonna let me.
well, and I think too that, and this became clear like as time went on, is that his shit is very transactional. It's like if I'm gonna confess something to you, you have to give me something. Well,
Yeah,
what are you
you're
gonna
right.
do for me?
You're right.
Like, and he even said that like a couple
Yeah.
times in those
You're gonna
exact
give me
words.
something.
You have to
Right.
give me something. Like, he's in prison. They're not
Right.
gonna let him out or nothing, obviously.
No, he's gonna want some.
But he
fucking-
wants some privileges or some. Oh, you're not gonna prosecute me for
give him
that.
some
or,
store money. Give him some
or
money so he can
whatever.
buy
So it's like,
fucking
so he always wanted
cookies and shit.
Yeah, so he always wanted to like fucking get
Yeah.
something. But eventually they got him to confess to like 15 other murders. So they closed like a bunch of cases that were including the prior Kelly like drownings that he had drowned those girls in the bathtub, which have been unsolved for a very long time. And like I said, some of the earliest ones that he did, like Nancy Vogel, you know, those cases have been cold for almost 60 years at that point. And the fact that he knew like a bunch of weird details and had some trophies from them like in his house, like obviously that was who that was. So yeah, they were able to like close a lot of cases, but like I said, they didn't really know until after he started confessing. And the most recent one he confessed to was just like last month. Like I said, that was the one from 1965, which they think was like the first one. And honestly, at this stage, like I said, it's just kind of like I'm scrolling through because I know there was like a whole bunch of other ones that he confessed to, and I don't know if I can. I think I talked about most of the ones that he confessed to, but yeah. So this was a motherfucker that was operating under the radar for like 65 for like 15 years, and he was just being a normal ass person, and nobody knew that he was up to this crap. And then when he got caught, he was like, oh, by the way, many years later, they're like, oh, I also did this and this and this and this and this.
So how many years again was he free doing this? Probably about 20,
They think that his first murder was 1965.
Yeah.
I'm inclined to agree just from the details that I know from the 1965 murder, at least what he confessed to. That seems like that was probably his first one because it was kind of
his
messed
last
up.
one was when?
1980. They caught him in 1980.
So he was around for about
15 years.
15 years.
15 years.
There's no way he killed 90.
I don't know, man. How would well 15? That's what? That's not that many a year. Honestly, I gotta be. It's not that many a year if you think about it mathematically.
I think he killed maybe 2 or 3 a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which still.
It's a lot, but I'm just saying that. Here's the thing. He's incarcerated. He's going to want to cash in on the ones that he did before he dies. So he's going to want something, you know, money deposited into his store account at the prison so he can get cigarettes or cookies or fucking candy or whatever it is that they have there at the fucking store. You know, because money means something in prison. So I think he was just kind of like meeting it out slowly. That way, you know, he could give the investigators something every 6 months or so, a couple $100, maybe. Depends on what it was they were paying him. They probably were paying him something. And every time he would give him a case, maybe they gave him $300 or $400. You know, I don't know. Jim would probably know. Were they giving him stuff in his store account at prison?
No, I don't think so. All they were really, the only perks, quote unquote, they were giving him was that they were promising stuff like, well, if you confess to stuff, like, we won't prosecute you, or we won't, because like I said, it was a couple.
That's not much.
Well,
for
it was a couple jurisdictions.
That's not much for. That's not much for a dude.
But they didn't really have much to bargain with.
You would think they'd give him a couple $100 per confession.
I don't. Maybe they did. I don't know.
Yeah, it kind of makes me think.
But the thing about it is that I kind of feel like that's not a great thing to do, because then you'll get in a Henry Lee Lucas situation,
right,
where the dude will confess to fucking anything.
Yeah.
The only
but probably has to back up with the fucking.
Well, that's what I'm saying. they're saying that they're thinking confirmed probably 20 because they're saying he confessed to stuff, but he knew details about it
that they wouldn't know,
that no one else would know.
Right.
So it's like that's the only reason. Like
he would have to give proof that he was there.
Right. It's like they can't just say it's like, oh yeah, I did that shit, and that's like the end of it. Okay, case closed. You know what I mean? Obviously, they're not going to do that. They said the only reason those are confirmed because I mean he's said that he committed between 80 and 100 what he calls perfect murders. I'm like, well, clearly not, because you did eventually get caught. But like I said, he was a little arrogant. Like a lot of these people, he's not the most arrogant serial killer I've ever seen. But I kind of feel like they're all a little bit like they all think they're smarter than the cops, or they're going to figure stuff out that the cops haven't figured out. Which shit, man. Like, in this day and age, when motherfuckers like me just, like, watch true crime shit all day long, it's like you can't even fool stupid motherfuckers like me that just watch true crime shit. So there's no way you're going to fool the fucking cops. They've seen it all before. You know what I mean? So it's just like, I don't know why they think they're smarter than everybody else, but they're not. And, but it's kind of funny, though. And I think they get a lot of leverage by making the person think that they're smarter. That's how they got him to confess to the double murder of those two girls that he drowned in that motel bathtub, because he didn't admit to that for like a really long time. That was one of the cases that they were like, yeah, that sounds kind of like him, maybe. Like, that was around, you know, the area, and that was like his victim profile or whatever. And the only way they got him to confess to that was like by playing to his ego, by saying, because he even said stuff like, well, that was the reason why they didn't catch me for so long, because I kept changing stuff up. I never did stuff the same, and you know, they couldn't catch me because I would do stuff different every time. Like, sometimes I'd strangle him, and sometimes I'd stab him, and sometimes I'd do this and that and the other. And it's like there was one case where I killed him, and it's like they got it wrong. Like, they didn't even know how and I was just like, hey, like, I got away with it. And so the dude was like, well, what case was that? Like, tell me about one case where the coroner got it wrong, or like where they got it wrong, like the cause of death. And then he confessed to it because he's not as smart as he thinks he is. So they were able to play him, because people with this kind of ego can be played pretty easily, because you just play to their ego. That's what they want. They just want somebody to, you know, lick their balls and tell them they're smarter and cooler than everybody else, and then they'll
lick their balls.
They'll just tell you. Well, they'll just tell you whatever you want to know, and they think they're smarter than you, while they're telling you exactly what you want to know, because it's like all you have to do is like cater to their ego, because it's like it's really obvious. So these type of dudes, that was the overwhelming impression I got of this dude, was of a dude who was of very average intelligence, who thought he was a genius.
Yeah. Well, most of them are like that.
That's what I'm saying. So it's just like he thought he was being super, super clever. Oh, well, that's why they didn't catch me, blah, blah, blah. And so I'm watching it, and the cop immediately goes, oh, well, tell me about why he's not going to do it. He's not going to fall. But he did. He did fall for that. I'm like, wow, you're stupid.
These golden age serial killers would have all been caught by today's standards. Because of DNA and the way the cops do shit. So,
and it could be that's why we don't see as many serial killers of this type, because they usually get caught.
They get caught early
before they get this far. Admittedly, still, you know, killing sex workers so it's still like it's harder because they don't know the person.
They're out there,
but
they're not as numerous as they were.
Easier to catch them nowadays.
And I think this is a gig that's well understood and kind of like passed in time. They're not being created like they were. The social conditions are different. There's not as many of them. I mean, I think the last of them, late 2010. That's when. Remember that one dude who had the girl in the damn fucking the metal container, the storage container.
Oh yeah.
He had several in there. That was kind of like kind of like a golden age serial killer, but he only got like 3 or 4 maybe.
Only.
They can't do what they used to do. They get caught.
Yeah, that's what I mean. David Brown said too many cameras these days.
Yeah,
not much machine.
cameras and
they
DNA.
can't really get away with it. I mean,
cell phones.
Yeah.
Cell phone data. All these girls that get fucking abducted have cell phones. So their last known point is a lot of kind of recorded.
Do you
in
guys
the cell phone
know
towers.
like how many fucking murders get solved by cell phone data?
Cell phone data.
Holy crap.
So it's not the same.
And every time, I know this is probably not the takeaway that a lot of true crime shows want. But I will watch true crimes, not necessarily about serial killers, but just about murders in general. Like, usually it's just murder, like, between family, like they killed their wife or something like that. And they'll get caught because the wife's phone was at this weird location, like, out in the desert or something
Yeah, when
like
it wasn't
that.
supposed to be
And then
there.
it went off.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, why did you not leave the phone at home or leave your phone at home?
Yeah.
Like, because, like, well, the victim's phone and the perpetrator's phone, the suspected perpetrator, were at the
together.
same place.
Yeah.
It's like, leave your fucking phone at home if you're dumping a body, you dumb shit. It's like, I don't understand why people don't know that.
It's because the dudes that do this aren't as smart as people think they
That's
are.
what
They're
I'm
fucking-
saying.
Yeah, they're impulsive. and
That's
they're stupid.
Exhibit A. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. They all think they're really smart.
Yeah.
Your fucking phone tracks you wherever you go. If
Yeah,
you're
and the
doing
victim's
nefarious shit,
Yeah.
why would you take your phone with you,
Yeah.
for Christ's sake? It will show where you are at, like, every fucking moment.
And let's say you had a new serial killer. He's like in his late teens and early 20s. And he would have been a serial killer back in the golden age. I bet you get caught instantly because he's got to have his cell phone with him and he's going to be trying to stream the shit that he does.
Right.
Oh, I'm going to stream this shit on fucking... Yeah, that's how stupid.
Look at the body.
Yeah. That's what kind of person you're dealing
I
with.
saw a show the other. I don't remember what one it was because I watch a lot of true crime
Yeah.
shows. I saw one the other day where that literally happened, where the people
Yeah.
killed a guy, and they took a picture of it,
Yeah.
like with the
Yeah.
dead body on the bed. Like, you couldn't tell the dude was dead
Yeah.
necessarily, but they were just kind of like, "Hey,
Yeah.
dead guy," hashtag or whatever.
Man.
And like, they
these
found him later.
dudes from the hood that would have been gangsters back in the 80s and shit in the hood, fucking listening to NWA or fucking Public Enemy and shit. Killing people, running people over in their fucking cars and shit. They're streaming it on fucking Facebook. Facebook Live. Doing gangster shit. Streaming it. That's how stupid they are. They
And
don't
they're like
realize that all this-
surprised when they go to jail.
I got caught? Yeah, you were streaming it, you stupid bitch. You're fucking 18. You don't know any better, okay? And the only reason why the
You grew
dudes
up with
back
this
in the
shit.
day
There's no
got
excuse.
away with it is because they didn't have that technology. That's
Yeah.
how dumb they are.
I mean, yeah, like back in the day,
Yeah.
they'd take pictures of it and stuff, but like
Yeah.
they would take pictures of it and just stash it in their
And they're
locked basement room that the wife wasn't
and
allowed
they
to go
used a
in.
fucking Polaroid Instamatic camera
If you were
that
smart,
developed it itself, and then it was a shitty camera.
because if you're gonna take pictures of your murder victims,
Don't send them to get
don't
developed.
send her to the 1 hour photo.
They see that. Yeah.
Because they look at that stuff.
Yeah. Dumb.
Even back then, like,
Dumb.
there was ways to get caught.
Yeah.
It was just harder.
Dumb.
But like I said, like nowadays,
Yeah.
not that I'm inclined that way, but it's like there's no fucking way that you would be.
Well, I
you
think
would get
part of
caught
it-
immediately.
Some of it might be because the Mexican cartels will live stream their attacks.
And maybe they think that's cool or
They
something.
think that's very cool. But the thing is that the Mexican cartels can get away with it because the Mexican government is fucking terrified of them.
Right.
I mean,
like
they have
they're
a
not
real
going to get any consequences.
There's no
'cause
consequence for them.
right.
They have a military, paramilitary
Doesn't
organization.
work quite the same.
Those dudes are all ex-military, ex-police in those cartels, and the elected politicians are terrified of them in Mexico. They own that country. That's going to be sorted out probably soon, but because of what's happening recently. But just because the Mexican cartels can do that doesn't mean your little ass in fucking South Central fucking LA can do it.
It's like, no, they'll put you
No, they're going to get you. You're a unit of two, maybe two people in a car. with a fucking not even a GED between the two. No, these motherfuckers got college educations in Mexico and fucking military and fucking police backgrounds and fucking millions of dollars and politicians in their pockets and fucking they got helicopters. Okay, they can make submarines. All right.
Well, yeah, they have
just because they're fucking gangsters doesn't mean you're a gangster. Right. Right.
They're aspirational.
Yeah, they're you're an aspirational motherfucker. But you are not the Mexican
in the
cartels.
most fucked up way imaginable.
They're like a nation state, okay? So, and you aren't. But it's just funny.
Gramthers is talking about these dudes like confessing and stuff, and he said it's called the urged purge.
Purge, yeah.
Sorry, I just thought of Heather's where she was.
Yeah, well, they want to get off their chest. Yeah.
Yeah, this guy, I'm not sure because he's dying, or they've said he's dying for like the last 4 or 5 years. He's still hanging in there though, unfortunately. I don't know if this dude. I don't know. I wouldn't presume. But he doesn't really seem to care all that much about giving closure to the families or anything. He doesn't really seem to give that much of a shit. Like I said, he only seems to want to confess to stuff if he can get something out of it. Like, he's very, very self-absorbed. He's very self-centered. I don't think he gives a single whiff of a fuck about anybody else, about the families of the people that he killed or anything like that. So I don't think that playing on his guilt or his conscience is going to be very fruitful because I don't think he has one. I think that you should just like say you're gonna give him stuff, but like at this point, what are you gonna give him? He's fucking dying. You know what I mean? He's got like diabetes and his kidneys are failing and shit like that, which I hope is painful. You know, just saying. But it's just this guy. I don't really have any sense that he cares at all. I know that some of them do, like I think some of them deep down maybe have a tiny speck of conscience in there somewhere. But this guy, I don't think so. I think he just completely, the only reason he's talking about stuff is because he got stuff in return. I think that's the only reason he talked about it. He doesn't care about any of these people. I really don't think he does.
How about you? But what time is it?
It is 10:46.
Okay, how'd you drink, Dawn? You want any more? You good?
Yeah, empty.
Yeah, I got a little bit.
It's empty. Can I have some?
Yeah, you can have some.
Oh, Gramther says cops play to egos. Yeah, I've noticed. Or find another chink in the armor, like religion, as in tell us where the bodies are so they can get a Christian burial. Yeah, I think in this case, I think they did the right thing by playing to his ego, because I don't think he has any conscience. So I don't think you could come at him from an empathy standpoint at all, because I don't think he has any. So I think they did the right thing. Like I said, I think that was why they did a good job, like getting him to confess to that double murder where he drowned those 2 girls in the bathtub, because they were appealing to his ego. Oh, you did something that fooled the cops. Tell us about that. You know, wow, so cool. They got him to confess to it. You know, like I said, you got to play him however they're coming at you. And this guy seems like he wants everybody to be, like, impressed with his stupid ass. So, you know.
My boy Grampers, we went to high school together. He's an ex-cop, if you guys are new to the show. He's retired now. He said that the photo mat called them about something that they found, and the fucking 2 pervs got 15 years or probably spending their life. What was in there?
I worked in a moto photo in college.
Yeah.
Called the cops on a couple of pervs for what they brought in.
Yeah.
They both got 15 years in prison.
What was it? Pedo shit?
Yeah, it's probably pedo shit.
Right, pedo shit, yeah.
I cannot fathom. Look, Polaroid cameras have existed since, what, the 50s at least? Maybe earlier.
They're pretty old. They got better as they went.
Why on earth, if you were doing illegal shit, like I said, I'm not giving away tips or anything, but I'm just saying, like, back in the old days, if you're doing illegal shit, why on earth would you take pictures of it with a camera that you had to then take somewhere to get processed where someone else was going to see it?
They thought it was an invisible machine.
It is a machine, but you can still see the shit when it comes out.
They're going through there to
Have
look
you
at
ever
all
been
that.
to fucking Walgreens?
Yeah.
It's a machine. The pictures come out right there.
It's well known.
I can see them if I look over the counter.
Yeah, it's well known that the dudes that work there a lot of times were high school students or guys in their early 20s. And if fucking you were taking nudie photos of your fucking wife or your girlfriends, they made doubles.
They
of
would
that
make copies of
and
it for sure.
kept that, yeah.
That was very common.
Yeah.
Like in the little photo mats where like the little booths
Yeah.
like in parking lots and
Because
shit.
dudes
Oh
were-
yeah, if you took nudie photos of your wife, they were keeping
They
that
would keep
shit
it. They'd
for
keep
jerk
it.
off material later
Yeah.
on.
If she was hot.
I kind of feel like a lot of I think a lot of dudes probably got off on that though. They're like, ooh, teenage boys are jerking off to my wife somewhere, like randomly.
The thing
I think that was
back
maybe
in
part
those
of the
days,
kink.
Back in those days, you couldn't pre-sample the photos, so you didn't know if they were a good photo or not.
That was what sucked
You just
about
hoped
it.
they were a good photo. You had to pay for even the bad photos.
Yeah, because like
Fucking-
man, many times.
Yeah,
You know,
your photos are like that.
you went on
photo?
vacation or something
Yeah.
like that and took a bunch of photos that you thought were cool. You took them to be developed. You'd go back to the next day and they were all fucked up with
It
thumbs
wasn't
in 'em.
until
They
the
were
digital
all-
camera that
Yeah.
fucking that goes kind
and
of.
it wasn't cheap either.
Yeah, you would take a photo instantly and go, that photo sucks. So you take a photo
And just
again.
erase it and take another one.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that's way better.
Back in the day, you had to pay like a few cents each.
And then
photo.
you'd find out,
Yeah, you spent fucking $5.
they're all fucked
on
up.
a bunch of fucked up photos. $10 on fucked up photos.
Yeah. That was, yeah. That's,
Yeah, and the encounter was over.
I don't miss that.
Yeah,
And like you couldn't redo it,
can redo it.
you know? Because it's like
Yeah.
that was all the film you had and it's
Yeah.
over now. You're back from vacation. You fucked it
Yeah.
all up.
All right, so you ready to shut it down, Jim?
I reckon
Let's
so.
go ahead and shut it down.
Okay.
Hopefully,
Hopefully-
we'll see him Friday.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed this show this
Yeah.
evening. Like I said, the serial killer ones, as fucked up as it sounds, are usually my
Yeah.
favorite ones to do. Yeah, David Brown said, I don't know, the lighting sucked on this roll. Yeah, there was nothing you could do about it.
Yeah, you couldn't do anything
It
about
was
it.
over.
And it might have looked cool in the viewfinder, and then when the shit got developed, you're like, ugh.
Yeah, or like I said, your fucking
Fuck.
finger was in it or shit
Yeah.
like that. I had that happen once.
Yeah, the flash was fucked up.
Yeah, you never know. You never know. Like I said, I don't miss it. I don't miss those days. that really sucked. It's much better nowadays. At least you can take enough pictures that at least you get one good one. All right, so we're going to wrap it up for this evening. It's getting kind of late where we are. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the show this evening. If enjoyed is the right word, thank you very much for hanging out with us. Thank you for your super chats. We'll be back again on Friday night for the Sidetracks show, which is always a good time. We just get drunk and talk about random bullshit even more than we normally do, which is a lot in case you didn't know. So have a good rest of your evening. You guys have a good day tomorrow, and we will see you guys again on Friday night.